critical part of the terror infrastructure of the jaish-e-mohammed, hit and neutralized in these strikes. As Pakistan contemplates retaliation, Bharat stands ready, firm in its doctrine of strength, proving once again that those who shed Indian blood will pay the price. The government will convene an all-party meet later today to discuss the situation and also to brief all the political parties in government and opposition, bringing everyone on board. On the other hand, Pakistan has rattled Pakistan with Operation Sindoor, continued warmongering. There is a huge amount of disinformation that is emanating from the Pakistani establishment, both civilian and military. There is a lot of misinformation, disinformation circulating in social media. And Pakistan Defense Minister Khwaja Asif, when confronted by CNN on his fake claims of shooting down 5 Indian jets, said it is all over social media. Another Pakistan minister claims that Pakistan and Indian NSA have spoken to each other. There has been contact, but there's been no confirmation of the same from Bharat.
साथियों, जैसी कि आप सबको जानकारी है कि कल रात हमारी भारतीय सेनाओं ने अपने अद्भुत शौर्य और पराक्रम का परिचय देते हुए एक नया इतिहास रच दिया है। हमारी सेनाओं ने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर लॉन्च करके पहले की तरह ही इस बार भी आतंकियों को ट्रेनिंग देने वाले कैंप्स को तबाह करके करारा जवाब दिया है। भारत ने अपनी सरजमी पर हुए हमले का जवाब देने के लिए अपने राइट टू रेस्पॉन्ड का इस्तेमाल किया है और हमारी यह कार्रवाई बेहद सोच समझकर सधे हुए तरीके से की गई है। आतंकियों के हौसले पस्त करने के उद्देश्य से यह कार्रवाई महज उनके कैंप्स और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तक ही सीमित रखी गई है। मैं पुनः हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के शौर्य को मैं नमन करता हूं।
Can you provide more detail? And is this the response that your army spokesman threatened, or is there further action to come? Let's start with this very specific allegation of 5 fighter jets shot down. Where's the evidence for that, sir?
It's all over the social media, on Indian social media, not on our social media. The debris of these jets fell into Indian occupied Kashmir, and it's all over Indian media today.
You're the defense
and they have
minister.
admitted their media has.
The reason to talk to you today, sir, is not to talk about content all over social media. I'm sorry. It's not to talk about content all over social media. I'm asking you very specifically for the evidence, for the detail. For example, was any Chinese equipment used by Pakistan to down these Rafale jets, as I understand you are alleging them to be?
There are no Chinese equipment. We have Chinese planes, JF-17 and JF-10. They are Chinese planes, but they are being manufactured, assembled in Pakistan now. We have very close to Islamabad, we have a facility over there where these planes are manufactured. And if India can buy planes from France and use them, we can also buy planes from China or Russia or United States or UK and use them. And let me say one thing. They have already admitted that the 3 planes were down.
You said that there was a contact between the national security advisors. So you were saying that the national security advisors of India and Pakistan spoke to each other after this episode?
There has been contact between the two. Yes.
So can we hope that these contacts may lead to some kind of escalation? Because in that statement, the National Security Committee, it said that Pakistan remains committed to peace with dignity and honor.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, many, international journalists asked me a question that both being nuclear states, do you think there is a chance of Pakistan reacting if there's an act of war? I said, listen, the national sovereignty, the territorial integrity, the dignity of the nation has no cost.
Viewers, when you listen to these ministers of the civilian government in Pakistan, what comes to mind? The first thing that comes to mind is, one, they are clueless. They have no clue what is happening. Their nation is claiming to be in a state of war with Bharat. 9 terror infrastructures within their own backyards have been decimated, destroyed, reduced to rubble by Bharat. And they have no clue. They don't even know how an aircraft is brought down by what. They have no clue whether it is 3 or 5. They are all saying it is all over social media. This is the defense minister of Pakistan. So what credibility would they have? The other part, Siddhant Mishra is with us. Khwaja Asif has said Bharat has confirmed 3 aircrafts have been downed. Ishan Wani, good morning. Now, please tell me, sir, where? We have been continuously live, rolling coverage on top of news and putting things out. Please tell me one official statement where Bharat has accepted 3 aircrafts are down. How can the defense minister of Pakistan sitting on international media make such a claim?
Yes, that's right, Anand. In fact, Khwaja Asif has been making such statements from last 2 weeks, and in fact now this is the freshest statement of Khwaja Asif in that series. In fact, where he's claiming that we have shot down Indian planes, and when he was asked by this lady that what proof you have, what evidence you have, to which he said that it's all over social media. Perhaps the reality, Anand, is that Khwaja Asif has very little say in what is happening in Pakistan. Perhaps, in fact, we all have also heard for the first time that there is one defense minister. His name is Khwaja Asif. It's Asim Munir and his team which runs the show. So all he is left with is to go and give interviews, perhaps to justify his job, and he is exactly doing the same. He picks narrative from social media. He picks narrative from the handout that he gets from Rawalpindi, and perhaps based on that he gives interviews, he speaks to media. So, these ministers in Shehbaz Sharif's government, Anand, have a very little say in the decision making, or perhaps they even don't know what would be the next move of Pakistan. It is decided by Asim Munir and his people in Rawalpindi. Yeah. Point number 1. Point number 2. This is one reason, Anand, that the other day Secretary of State Marco Rubio rejected his counterpart Ishaq Dar, and in fact chose to speak directly to Shehbaz Sharif. Correct. Because US has also understood that these netas of Pakistan, these politicians of Pakistan, are toothless. They don't have any power, and perhaps they are only given job of making irresponsible statements, which is further escalating tension between the two countries. So let's not take his statement seriously.
This perhaps is the other part, like Ishaq Dar made a comment that the 2 NSAs are in contact. What contact?
Yes.
What is the contact, and where is the confirmation
yes.
of this? Yeah, just making
yes.
Spurious claims and spreading disinformation. They themselves are clueless. Their own army or military establishment is not keeping them in the loop of what has actually happened. That is how exposed they are. Now, Ishan Wani, good morning. I was talking to Siddhant and to you. So, Ishan, coming to you on this. The other thing is, perhaps the likes of Khwaja Asif, when they sit down with the next international reporter or presenter who's a media platform, they should show them a J-17 and a Rafale and ask him which is what. And also to explain, not via social media, but how do you bring down an aircraft? The defense minister of Pakistan cannot sit there on international platform and say it is all over social media. They are asking for evidence. They have none.
Well, Anand, absolutely right. And so far, there has been no proof, no confirmation, and just misinformation. And that is something where your government is telling us that be very careful about the misinformation that is being spread on social media. We already have seen action on handles. We've already seen action taking place on the ground where this information is being called out. PIB is doing fact check, and they are trying to ensure that the right kind of information reaches out to people. There are fake and edited videos, doctored videos being presented on social media by these handlers claiming that this is Indian jet which was shot down. People should be very careful about this misinformation campaign that is being run. Remember, this is not the first and this is not the last. Remember, during even post-Pulwama attack, they had claimed that multiple jets had been brought down by the Pakistani defense. But later on, they retracted on that claim. Not to forget, Khwaja Asif also made claim that they have captured Indian soldiers, retracted again. So there have been statements which have been made even recently where they have retracted, and possibly there's a need to do homework and be together with your forces and have faith on your forces so that they proceed, they're able to get you the right kind of information and not let them down at this critical moment where we have also seen massive shelling taking place, both small arm and artillery shelling going on the line of control.
I'll just come to you on the line of control and what's happened, what the Pakistanis have resorted to, targeting civilians. They can't fight a direct war, सीधे जंग नहीं लड़ सकते हैं, proxy war, and they just target civilians and they're claiming more innocent lives, and Bharat is watching, and Bharat will come back and exact the pound of flesh and avenge these deaths also. Be rest assured, the military establishment in Pakistan. We try and get Akash Sharma also, but before we go and see if he can also be there. Ishan, stay on with us. But there's more. The Iranian foreign minister has touched down in Bharat. Confirmation coming from Ranveer Jaiswal itself as he's welcomed the Iran foreign minister Syed Abbas Araqi. He is going to be in New Delhi. It's his maiden visit to Bharat and to New Delhi. He will be meeting Foreign Minister Jaishankar, and there will be the co-chairing of the 20th Joint Commission meeting between Bharat and Iran. The Iran FM has condemned the terrorist attack in Pahalgam and he's urged restraint from both Bharat and Pakistan. Siddhant, most importantly, he is coming from Pakistan. It's the only aircraft that's flown from Pakistan into Bharat with the airspace also being closed. In the wee hours, he's landed. He was received by Ranveer Jaiswal. There you go, that's the picture. There is confirmation. He's received by the Indian contingent there and he's been welcomed. Members of the foreign ministry of Bharat who have now welcomed him, and he's made his way. What is the schedule for the day and what is likely? What can we expect?
Yeah. Anand, Iran wants to mediate between India and Pakistan. In fact, these two visits of Iranian foreign minister to Pakistan and to India was planned much before Pahalgam terror attack, point number one. Point number two, I'm also told, Anand, that we did not let Iran hyphenate Pakistan and India. So he was in Islamabad, he met Shehbaz Sharif, Army Chief Asim Munir, then he had to go back to Tehran, and from Tehran again he commenced his journey to New Delhi. And now we have this confirmation that he has arrived. In fact, he is here to hold India-Iran joint consultations. He will also meet Minister Jaishankar. In fact, he is also likely to call on other senior dignitaries of the Indian government. Iran is a very close partner of India, and perhaps this is one reason that on a day one, Iran had come up with a statement, perhaps offering its good office for mediation. But that does not hold much significance, Anand, given Iran has their own troubles. Perhaps after Trump coming to office, they're being told to shut their nuclear program. They are being told 10,000 things by United States. So their priority. Their priority is
Donald
to handle
Trump
that
and the American establishment
before,
and the Iran standoff is one part. There is a proxy war that they are also waging, and Iran has direct hands with the Hamas, with the Houthis, and there is a certain pummeling that it is facing there. But also on Balochistan, they have a problem with the Pakistanis because the Iranians have seen cut a certain amount of strikes and punitive measures that have happened, and their borders have also been hot between Iran and Pakistan, where the Baloch have also created certain trouble for them, and the Pakistan military has also been blamed for allowing certain elements to proliferate and to be operating out of Pakistani soil or Baloch areas. So Iran has its own issues with Pakistan too. So this whole camaraderie and all does not, what's behind the scenes is perhaps a dressing down has been given to the Pakistanis by Iran as well. We'll try and understand that a little more. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Anand. In fact, very valid point you made. In fact, last year in January, they did limited strikes inside Pakistan on jaish-e-mohammed targets. Perhaps, right after doing their strikes, they informed Pakistanis that, look, we have done limited strikes inside your territory and there should not be further escalation. So, Pakistan is kind of habitual of such limited strikes from all the three border areas with India, Iran and Afghanistan. So, last year when it was, when Jaish-e-Mohammed was threat to Iranian forces, perhaps they did limited strikes and neutralized them, destroyed their targets. And now when it comes to, India, doing the same, they were offering their good office for mediation.
No, well, the point is, Pakistan is not habitual for terror strikes or strikes. The Pakistan is habitual of making its home, making itself and its soil available for terror infrastructure. More than 300 jihadi tanzeems have their base and their operations somewhere all across Pakistan and its occupied territories. That's the reality of this nation. And that's why anything emanating out of this nation or its civilian establishment cannot be trusted. From its military establishment also cannot be trusted, because they are a bunch of liars and a lot of them are absolutely clueless, viewers. They are clueless. So when they peddle and make statements, no matter what position of authority they occupy, one cannot trust. At this time, especially at this time, trust Bharat, trust Bharatiya news networks, trust the Bharatiya government and what is officially being released by the Bharatiya government. If you have doubts anywhere about any of this, trust CNN News 18, trust the News 18 network. Going across to more news coming through, Ishan Wani is live with us. We'll go to him, but first to Akash. That post-Operation Sindoor, it's been quite a restful night. There has been a lot of activity along the LOC, multiple regions which have seen a huge amount of artillery shelling through the night. In fact, through the day and also through the night, Pakistan has been heavily resorting to heavy artillery firing and shelling into civilian areas. We have lost another 15 to 18 of civilians, and a lot of them are seriously injured, nearly 45 of them very seriously injured. Some of those pictures are very, very disturbing, viewers. We are holding back those pictures because those pictures are very, very gory. But this is what the enemy will resort to. This is the level, the low level of the integrity that the enemy has, that they are perpetrating a war crime by targeting civilian areas, innocent civilians who are being targeted and whose homes are being pummeled by Pakistani shells and Pakistani guns. Akash.
So Anand, even last night, as you rightly pointed out, Pakistani army continued this artillery fire, and in fact the areas, specifically in Kashmir, you have Kupwara, Baramulla and Uri. In fact, in these areas, we have different sectors where, artillery fire was on from Pakistani side. They are, using artillery as well as small arms. And we have been told that specifically not just civilian areas, but also the infrastructure, Anand, they are trying to target the infrastructure, the crucial infrastructure. I have one place where, you have NHPC plant nearby. They are trying to send fire to that particular property. However, it is not happening because of course, the proximity. But then Pakistan is using, Pakistan is in fact violating ceasefire, and of course is using smart ammunition is what, I have been learning. Though I'm waiting for some more details on the sort of ammunition that they're using. But we have been told that they're using smart ammunition and they are targeting specifically the civilian population also, so that, there can be some sort of pressure on the Indian government. Also, Anand, last night, in fact, I had interviewed some individuals. So people are in dilemma because for last so many years, firing was not happening. So earlier, the practices that they used to opt, are no more there. For example, earlier, before 2021, mortar fire used to come, so they had, their shelters, and they used to move to those shelters when artillery used to happen, artillery fire used to happen. This time around, you have, from 2021, you had no ceasefire violations, specifically no artillery fire at least. So that's why now they are forced to, move to hotels and in fact the community halls. Many of them can of course afford it, but then there are many who cannot afford it and they are forced to live in, conditions which are not very much, favorable for them, suitable for them, and that's the reason why now they are also looking, up to some sort of better arrangements, and also they want that this should stop as soon as possible.
No, there is a retaliation that the forces are giving, and if this is what Pakistan is trying to effect on our side, viewers, just leave it to your imagination what pummeling must be happening on the other side from as our forces respond. But this needs to be exposed to the world, that a nation that goes out to the international fraternity claiming to be victim is actually the villain here, and they are the ones who are causing this kind of disarray in a region which they claim that is their jugular vein. So that's the hypocrisy altogether. Mudassir Qadri is joining us live from Uri. Mudassir, good morning, but not a very good morning for people, for the local residents. There's been a huge amount of shelling and firing right through the night. Does it still continue? Can you still hear gunfire and, mortar shelling?
Look, Anand, although there are no fresh reports of ceasefire violations by Pakistan, but the situation remains to be critical here, and we are this time on ground zero in Uri market, and you can see the whole market is closed, shutters are down, and all the commercial establishments are closed, and as far as schools are concerned, the schools are also closed here, and the situation seems to be critical here, and there is a lot of panic in the area. और मैं अपने विजय आफाक से कहूँ कि ये this is the another side of the story, and these are the border areas, and you can see in the visuals ये जो पहाड़ियाँ है, तो यहाँ के जो मकान आपको नजर आ रहे हैं, और हाल ही में कोई ऐसा शख्स होगा जो अभी मकान के अंदर जो है मौजूद होगा, और वो जब कल शेलिंग हुई तो शेलिंग के फौरन बाद ही वो यहाँ से निकल चुके हैं, और जो आज रात भर हमने देखा कि पूरा एरिया जो था वो पैनिक में था, और लोग कहीं ना कहीं अपनी जानें बचाने के लिए यहाँ से निकल गए हैं। लगभग हम ये कह सकते हैं कि ऑलमोस्ट 80% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन है लगभग कल की अगर हम बात करेंगे तो इस वक्त यानी कि 24 घंटे अभी नहीं बीते हैं कि शेलिंग जो है वो हो रही थी, और हमने देखा कि वी हैव विजिटेड द इस्लामाबाद उड़ी एरियाज, कमांड पोस्ट पे हम गए, और वहां पे हमने देखा कि जो मकान थे वो काफ़ी शेलिंग की जद में आ गए हैं, और काफ़ी जो नुकसान है, डैमेज है, वो मकानों को पहुंचा है। और इस सिलसिले में जब हमने लोकल से बात की तो लोकल्स का ये कहना है कि वो चाहते हैं कि सीज फायर वायलेशन ना हो पाकिस्तान की तरफ से, और जिसकी वजह से अब लोग जो है काफ़ी घबराए हुए हैं। लेकिन साथ ही साथ हमें ये बात भी समझनी होगी कि लोगों ने जो इंडिया की एक्शन थी, जो ऑपरेशन सिंदूर है, उसका कहीं ना कहीं दिफा किया है, उसको जस्टिफाई किया है, और ये कहा है कि वो प्योरली, जिस तरह से इंडिया ने भी कहा कि ये पहलगाम टेरर अटैक का एक बदला था, और जिस तरह से इंडिया ने भी साफ किया था कि जो टेरर बेसिस है उन पे अटैक किया गया है, मिलिट्री बेसिस।
थोड़ा आपके साथ थोड़ा फुल फ्रेम जाएंगे। यूजुअली अभी तो सुबह के 7:20 बज रहे हैं, तो वहाँ तो काफ़ी चहल पहल होती है, उरी काफ़ी जल्दी लोग जग जाते हैं, पर आपके पीछे पूरा सुनसान पड़ा है। ये कहाँ पर खड़े हैं और ये क्या पूरा खाली हो गया है?
बिल्कुल आनंद, हम आपको दिखाना चाहेंगे। मैं विजय आफाक से कहूं कि ये जो मार्केट है ये काफ़ी हसल बसल यहाँ पे हुआ करता था, काफ़ी चार्मिंग मार्केट हुआ करता था, बहुत बड़ा मार्केट है ये उड़ी का, और यहाँ पर इस वक्त जो थे ये जो एस्टैब्लिशमेंट्स आप देख सकते हैं, ये पूरे जो शटर्स है डाउन है, और जो कमर्शियल इदारे हैं वो भी डाउन है। और जहाँ तक स्कूल्स की बात है, इस वक्त स्कूल्स के जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं, बच्चे निकलते थे स्कूल्स की ओर, लेकिन इस वक्त ऐसा नहीं दिख रहा है। पूरा मार्केट जो है सुनसान दिख रहा है, और आप देख सकते हैं कि एक डेजर्टेड लुक जो है इस उड़ी मार्केट में आप देख सकते हैं। और यहाँ पर जिस तरह से अभी दुकानें खुलनी थी, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं हो पा रहा है, क्योंकि यहाँ पर जिस तरह से हमने कहा कि लगभग 80% जो लोग हैं, जो आबादी है, वो यहाँ से निकल चुकी है, और वो सेफर लोकेशंस की तरफ जो है मुंतकल हो चुके हैं। और इस सिलसिले में आप देख सकते हैं कि ये जो एरिया पूरा भरा हुआ था, चाहे दुकानों की बात करेंगे या फिर जो दीगर कमर्शियल एस्टैब्लिशमेंट्स है उनकी बात करेंगे, तो इस वक्त जो 8 बजने को है, और इस वक्त यहाँ काफी चहल पहल हुआ करती थी, काफी रौनक हुआ करती थी, लेकिन इस बार ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है, क्योंकि यहाँ के लोग जो है काफी डर में है, काफी खौफ में है। और जिस तरह से हमने कहा कि इस्लामाबाद उड़ी जो यहाँ से कुछ किलोमीटर की दूरी पर वाक़ा है, लगभग 3 या 4 किलोमीटर हम उससे पीछे हैं, तो वहां पर पूरा जो एरिया है वो खाली हो चुका है, और लोग ये चाहते हैं कि उनके लिए जो बंकर्स वगैरह पहले हुआ करते थे वो दोबारा उनको प्रोवाइड किए जाए, ताकि उनकी जानें जो है वो बच सके। लेकिन कुल मिलाकर अभी हम ये कह सकते हैं कि लोगों से बात की लोगों में काफी थ्रेट है।
मैं बस एक बार और आपसे जानना चाहूंगा, जहां आप खड़े हैं वहां से पाकिस्तानी पोस्ट कितनी दूरी पर हैं, और क्या वो पहाड़ी के ऊपर बैठे हुए हैं जिसकी वजह से वहां से वो नीचे यहाँ आवाम पर इस तरह से शेलिंग कर रहे हैं और उनको टारगेट कर रहे हैं?
बिल्कुल, अगर इस एरिया की हम टोपोग्राफी आपको समझाए तो पूरा ये 3 साइड से जो पाकिस्तान है, पाकिस्तान के बंकर्स जो है वो यहाँ पर तैनात है और बंकर्स कायम किए गए हैं। और यही वजह है कि जब वो वहाँ से शेलिंग करते हैं तो सबसे पहले जो सिविलियन एरियाज है वो हिट होते हैं, उनको टारगेट बना दिया जाता है। और लगभग 3 साइड जो है इस पहाड़ी के, पीर पंचाल पहाड़ी जो है, जो LOC है, तो वहाँ से 3 साइड से फायरिंग होती है और शेलिंग होती है, और जिसकी जद में जो सिविलियन एरियाज है वो आ जाते हैं। और उसके बाद यकीनी तौर पर जिस तरह से आप सिचुएशन को एसेस कर सकते हैं कि लोगों के लिए कितना मुश्किल हुआ होगा जब शेलिंग होती होगी। और यही वजह है कि कल रात को भी हमने यहाँ पर देखा कि जो मस्जिद है, लोकल मॉस्क हैं, तो वहाँ से अनाउंसमेंट्स की गई कि पूरा ब्लैकआउट जो है वो यहाँ पर मनाया जाए। हालांकि जिस तरह से हमने कहा कि अक्सर जो पॉपुलेशन है वो यहाँ से निकल चुकी है सेफर लोकेशंस की तरफ, और ऐसे में अब जो लोग यहाँ पे रह रहे हैं, चाहे मकानों की रखवाली कर रहे हैं या प्रॉपर्टी की रखवाली कर रहे हैं, तो उनसे ये निवेदन किया गया कि ब्लैकआउट पूरी तरह से मनाया जाए ताकि जो दुश्मन है उसको स्पेसिफिक टारगेट ना मिल पाए, चाहे बिजली की रोशनी या कोई और रोशनी अंधेरे में उनको दिखे तो वो उस एरिया को, उस एस्टेब्लिशमेंट को टारगेट कर सके। तो कुल मिलाकर आनंद, हम ये कह सकते हैं कि लोग अभी पैनिक, लोगों में काफी पैनिक है, लोग डरे हुए हैं, खौफ महसूस कर रहे हैं। और साथ ही साथ इंडिया की एक्शन को भी
एक ये है कि लोकल एस्टैब्लिशमेंट और डीसीज को भी ये हिदायत दी गई थी कि जो भी 5-6 किलोमीटर की रेंज में जगह होगी, पीछे से आपकी एक गाड़ी जा रही है, फर्स्ट कार इन द लास्ट 10 मिनट्स दैट वी बीन स्पीकिंग टू मुदस्सिर, आपने देखा। बट आप थोड़ा, अगर आप आज भी थोड़ा सा अगर आप फॉरवर्ड एरिया की तरफ जाएं, मैं वहाँ आया हूँ मुदस्सिर, जहाँ आप खड़े हैं उसके आसपास ही एक बढ़िया बेकरी है जहाँ बहुत अच्छी बटर बिस्किट और गर्म चाय मिलती है, मैंने वहाँ पी है। सो मुझे पता है कि वहाँ सुबह सुबह के टाइम में कितनी वहाँ चहल पहल होती, तो आज पूरा वहाँ पर सन्नाटा है। थोड़ा सा आगे आप जहाँ आप कह रहे हैं जहाँ पर ये शेलिंग हो रही है और जहाँ लोगों को काफ़ी नुकसान हुआ है, विल ट्राई एंड गेट योर रिपोर्ट फ्रॉम देयर ऑल्सो इन अ बिट। थैंक यू फॉर दैट अपडेट। ईशान वानी इज ऑल्सो विद अस। ईशान, एंड दिस इज जस्ट मुदस्सिर कादरी एट उरी, but Mendhar, Punch, Kupwara, a lot of these places have seen a lot of shelling right through the night. Is there shelling even now?
Well, not right now. We don't have any reports of fresh firing that has taken place. During the night time that small arm exchange and artillery has been used. So we are given to understand that it was less than yesterday, because yesterday there was an intense shelling which took place, claimed several lives and injured a lot of people around these locations, damaging infrastructure, damaging cars, damaging everything that was there. And today we have been told that it was again started. There was an unprovoked firing by Pakistan along all of these areas, three districts in Kashmir where this particular ceasefire violation has been reported. We are yet to get any reports of whether there are fresh damages or fresh injuries that have been caused overnight, but the administration is gearing up. We are given to understand that on standby mode, everything has been kept to ensure that if there is any escalation
Ishan, I just want to check with you, and we'll also try and get Tejinder Singh Sodhi on this if we can. But Ishan, is it true that in Punch a Gurdwara was struck?
Yes.
And it was pummeled with artillery shelling? I think we got those pictures. These are pictures of a Gurdwara being attacked, and there are pictures which are quite disturbing. Young kids were maimed and injured because of Pakistani artillery shelling. Women,
well,
people who had come to pray at the Gurdwara, those who were serving, who were doing seva at the Gurdwara, they have all been hurt, and they have all been, some of them, there have been deaths also because of the way the Gurdwara has been attacked. So this is Punch, viewers. Yes, Ishan, we'll stay with these pictures.
Yes, exactly. What we have been given to understand is that the Indian side has raised this matter that definitely there was a deliberate targeting of a religious place, which is the Gurdwara in Punch, where certain disciples have also been hurt. They have been injured, and we all even saw visuals of some of them being moved to the hospital. One of them had a critical injury, and possibly one of them has also lost his life in this particular shelling. And India is saying that there is complete chaos, and because of the deliberate targeting of a religious place, that is unacceptable to target Gurdwara in Punch. But yes, forces are now ensuring safety and security. This is deliberately being done to target all these places. India has raised this matter that there is definitely, not only that, remember, there's a UN field office where also shells landed. We also have those visuals that even in the UN field office in Punch, it was also received some shelling, and then it was also raised that not even they have been spared. So that tells you the intensity at which the Pakistan is trying to, ensure that they are able to engulf more and more localities, civilian population in this matter, and they are trying to harm them, so that there's a displacement of people living near the line of control.
Right. Thank you, Ishan, for that. Tejinder Singh Sodhi is also with us on the phone line. We are getting more details. There is a reaction that's come in. Viewers, it's taking us a lot of restraint here on the News 18 network to put out the pictures of the injured because the pictures are so gory, they are very disturbing. We'll try and blur the visuals of some of those pictures which can still be consumed by our viewers, but we would request that you exercise discretion when we put these pictures out. And the blood only boils further when we see these pictures. It is innocents. They had come to the Gurdwara to pray. They were going about their daily jobs. There was no reason for Pakistan to try and shell and to fire and to aim at these establishments, but they have done so. The number of people who have been injured, there are young 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 10-year-olds who have been badly injured and maimed. So badly injured and maimed that you feel like you want to go back and pummel them again. You want to do 10 more Operation Sindoors on these brutes who just do not want to learn. The world needs to see these pictures. We'll try and check internally. And see if we can put out some of those pictures. We'll treat and blur those visuals, but they are very disturbing. They should be out in a bit, but there are more reactions that have come through on what happened at this Gurdwara, where people were praying. There are disciples who stay there. There was seva going on and prayers going on. And that's when this has happened. Look at the state of the Gurdwara there.
ਅੱਜ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਦਰਦਨਾਕ ਹਾਦਸਾ ਸੀ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਸ਼ੈਲਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਲਗਭਗ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ 12 ਲੋਕੀ ਉਹ ਜੋ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਡੈਥ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਪੂਰੇ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਔਰ ਪੁੰਛ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਲਗਭਗ 5 ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਹੈ 6 ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਡੈਥ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 5 ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਿੱਖ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਬਸਤਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਔਰ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਵੀਰ ਨੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਡੈਥ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਭਾ ਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੇ ਕਾਰਨਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ੈਲ ਆ ਕੇ ਡਿੱਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਡਾ ਜੋ ਦਰਵਾਜ਼ਾ ਹੈ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦਾ ਉਹ ਟੁੱਟਿਆ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਕੁਝ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ੇ ਸਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਡਿੱਗੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਸਰੂਪ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ
Narinder Singh ji, who was the president of the district Gurdwara committee, the local district Gurdwara committee, that's what he was saying. Narinder Singh ji is saying that 5 people of the Sikh community, rest or Muslims, all have died because of this kind of shelling that's happened. There has been damage to the Gurdwara, there's damage to a Gita Bhavan, and there is damage to a local mosque also. So these, less said the better. This is how the enemy behaves, viewers. They don't care. All their bluster, all their claims are hollow. This is their act. Tejinder Sodhi is with us. Yes, Tejinder, a teacher has also been killed.
Yes, Anand, you see those cowards in uniform who call themselves a professional army sitting on the other side of the line of control, they are known for their brutalities on the civilians. Now, when India carried out Operation Sindoor, targeting the terror training camps, terror launch pads, those cowards on the other side of the line of control, they resorted to unprovoked ceasefire violation, targeting the civilian population. As you rightly pointed out, that they targeted religious places, gurdwaras, temples, mosques across the Punch district. The total estimate right now is that 15 civilians have been killed, including small kids, women, and men. Pakistan did not spare even school-going children. They were also targeted. The Gurdwara was targeted. 5 to 6 members of the Sikh community were killed, and rest others were Hindus, Muslims. Because you see, why Punch is being targeted, Anand? The reason is that the people across Punch are nationalists. They are the one who raise Indian flag despite hostilities from the Pakistan side. They are the one who rejected the two-nation theory in 1947, and they are the one who fought against the Pakistani invasion of 1947 and wanted to stay back with India. And that is the reason that every time there is a ceasefire violation from the Pakistan side, these people are being punished for their loyalty for India. So this is something which Pakistan is unable to digest, the diversity, the unity of India, because people from Sikh community, people from Hindu community, people from Muslim community.
It is no longer about, Tejinder, it is no longer about Pakistan. It is about Bharat now. How much is Bharat now going to take this? If Bharat has drawn the line and said that we're going to push you back and we're going to hurt you hard, then not just Pahalgam, Punch will be avenged, Mindar will be avenged, Uri will be avenged. Every single life that has been accounted for because of a Pakistani bullet or a Pakistani gun has to be avenged. That's the resolve we as a nation need to have. Tejinder, stay on with us. We got Sardar RP Singh on the phone line. Sardar RP Singh, ये किसी के नहीं है. अपने मुल्क को तबाह कर दिया और सामने के लोग वहां पर भी आवाम को कर रहे हैं. And then they are going and playing victim. These are the real villains. Is the government going to expose this lot?
Well, I'll appreciate government of India should consider altering the line of control also. When they are doing this and they are hitting the gurdwaras and the temples on our side, and people from Gurdwara have been killed, the Sikhs have been killed, the innocent Indians have been killed. So Indian government need to take cognizance and do the needful. And Kartarpur can be on our side this time.
It's not can, sir. It should be. This is the time. This is the time that a lesson needs to be taught to a nation and its military establishment, which needs to be totally defanged. What kind of a military moral is this, that you are attacking and targeting civilians just because they are in your radar, and they have targeted religious establishments brazenly? Was there anything that was working against the Pakistani infrastructure or Pakistani here? Was this a terror base or a terror camp, this Gurdwara? Was that Gita Bhavan a terror base or a terror camp? Was that masjid a terror base or a terror camp? A 14-year-old was praying inside here, has been killed. 5 Sikhs, 8 Muslims. What were they doing? Was there any terror camp here that they have demolished? They have targeted civilians. This is a war crime. This is an open act, brazen act of war by the Pakistanis.
Well, what do you expect from Pakistanis? What sort of moral? I mean, they have no moral left. I mean, and then it's very clear they are targeting civilians. They are targeting innocent civilians, and they need to be retaliated back. We'll appreciate Indian government and Indian army to immediately take cognizance and then retaliate back, and especially targeting Gurdwaras. I mean, now probably the Khalistanis should understand this, that for them, Pakistanis, the Gurdwaras or the Sikhs don't matter. For them, we are Indians first.
Sir, we've got some pictures, some stills. There are some videos also, sir, of the children and the people, the women, the men who've been, maimed and also who have died, who have succumbed to this kind of shelling. Those pictures are so disturbing. I'm unable to control my emotions at this point because of what has been unleashed. How is this being tolerated? Is this something like a consolation prize for the Pakistanis so that they de-escalate? Where I hope the government remembers that every single life has to be avenged. This should not happen again, Sardar RP Singh. Look at the picture, sir. This is only from Punch. These kind of pictures are available from Mindar, from Kupwara, from Uri, and now they are shelling certain other places also.
Well, for them, they are retaliating to satisfy their audience at home, and they are targeting poor innocent Indians and then innocent Sikhs also. And it's very clear that for them, it is a revenge they are taking for what has happened. But fact is that there is not a single terrorist in Gurdwaras. Why are they targeting these Gurdwaras? Why are they targeting poor Sikhs for that regard? And then Sikh community in Delhi and other part of the country has already opposed this. They have already protested on this. There are already statements, there are already protests which are happening countrywide.
Sir,
so we'll appreciate God.
Sir, with respectfully, Major General A.K. Sivach is also with us. To our viewers, to Sardar RP Singh, to General Sivach, wo Sikh ho, Musalman ho, Hindu ho, Isai ho, how does it matter? Sab Hindustani hai, sir. They have this inherent hatred for anybody who is a Hindustani. Sardar RP Singh, this is what their real nature is. They believe that anybody who holds up the tricolor, who stands up for Hindustan, it deserves to die. Their life is not very material. This is the mindset of the Pakistan military establishment. This is where the terror feeds emanate from. And the Pak army chief is far more radicalized than some of these terror tanzeems by the way their army is behaving.
Well, there is no doubt. For them, we all are Indians, and then they are targeting Indians. But why target places like gurdwaras and then temples? I mean, they are not any. We don't do any terror activity from gurdwaras and temples like them. So there's the question, and then we'll appreciate the Indian army and Indian government should immediately take cognizance and retaliate accordingly. And they should be given a befitting reply for targeting our innocent civilians. I've been told there are almost six have been killed in this process. So what was the fault of these 6? They were the gurdwaras, they were Bhai Sahib of the gurdwara, they were the granthis of the gurdwaras who have been killed in this process.
We hope the world is watching. That's all. We hope the world is watching. There is so much of carnage that's been unleashed by the Pakistani military that there is no end to retribution till this entire military establishment is defanged. Sardar R.P. Singh, thank you for speaking with us. Look at the people. They have all been displaced. There is no love lost for anybody who is a Hindustani for this Pakistani military. They are so far gone and radicalized in their approach. And this is what Bharat has been dealing with all these years. And why have we tolerated this and why should we tolerate this? Major General A.K. Siva, Jai Hind sir, good morning.
Morning, Anand. No doubt. See, as far as Pakistan is concerned, pay them on the same coin. You know, the point is we don't have to play a victim card. When we have, in fact, started a ceasefire on 25th February 2021, that was favorable to Pakistan because Pakistan, is not in a position to sustain for long. We gave them a way out. Now Pakistan is doing an unprovoked firing. We must pay them back on the same coin, also hit them hard where it hurts. And that's the motto of the Indian Army now. I'm sure Pakistan Army doesn't follow any principle.
The world has to realize कि victim हम हैं, बर्दाश्त हमने किया है. As a country, victim is Bharat. The villain is the Pakistan. Villain is Pakistan and the Pakistani military establishment.
Yeah,
is it so difficult to convince the world that this is the reality? That Bharat has tolerated these cuts, these injuries, and the innocent killing of civilians for decades now, and enough is enough. Today, the victim is standing up and saying no more. It's turning back and saying that the villain has to be brought to account. Is this so difficult to make the world understand this? General Sivaj.
You see, the point is, in today's world, you have to take care of your own self. You have to hit them hard. Now, India is a far larger country with a, you can say we are the 4th largest military power. Pakistan does not stand anywhere. Pakistan economy is in extremely bad condition. They have a shortage of hearty ammunition. So on the line of control, you hit them hard. And in case if they are resorting to unprovoked firing, we should also make sure that it, make them feel uncomfortable where it hurts. See, I commanded a brigade on line of control in Maxar in Kupwara. I still remember that whenever they used to do unprovoked firing to help the terrorists to infiltrate, we used to make sure that post which is basically supporting that will be eliminated next day. We used to do so much firing on that. So the only...
Sir, वो mindset भी change करना पड़ेगा. हर एक जान का 1 किलोमीटर हम उनसे लेंगे, sir. That's the attitude we have to show.
Absolutely. See,
हर एक जान का 1 किलोमीटर हम उनसे लेंगे.
Be aggressive.
And we have to go fully. This time around, enough of the villain. It's time. It is that part of this entire theater of action where the victim stands up and pummels the villain and finishes off the villain. That's the attitude we have to go. We cannot come back and say, ठीक है आप 2-4 गोलियां दाग लो, हमारे कुछ और मर जाएंगे, इसके बाद हम शांत हो जाएंगे. If that is what is happening, sir, then I'm not with this government and I'm not with the armed forces if they are going to back off now. This is not done.
My point is, Anand, the point is simple as that. No one in the world is going to listen to you. You have to hit them hard and hit them hard wherever it hurts. And that's the motto which Indian Army follows. So the point is now the government has already given a complete freedom of action. Pakistan is doing a more provoked firing. You do much more than what they can do. Hit them where it hurts. And there are military establishment in POK which are there. You target them. In Indian Army and Pakistan Army, there is a difference. Pakistan Army resort to unprovoked firing to the civilian area because that is their motto. They want to hurt the civilians. Whereas Indian Army doesn't follow that. We do not sort of target the civilian targets. We only target the military.
General Saab, it's with due respect, sir, the attitude now has to be for every life that you have taken, we'll take 1 kilometer. For every person you have injured or maimed, we'll take half a kilometer. That's
Absolutely.
what we will do. We are going to come hard at you and we are not going to stop till the time you beg, plead and come down on your knees and the Pakistani people, the Pakistan government defangs this military. The Hydra, the origin of this entire terror ecosystem is the Pakistani military establishment which needs to be defanged and it needs to be accounted for. That's the only focus that we need to have whole of government.
Absolutely. See, Anand, there's no doubt. You very rightly said the biggest problem of Pakistan is Pakistan Army. Everyone knows it that every country has an army. But in Pakistan, the army has a country. The actual power there flows not from Islamabad but from Rawalpindi. And Pakistan army, motto is breed India with 1,000 cuts. So they will keep on doing this asymmetric warfare. You have to hit them hard. You don't have to show the victim card. Hit them where it hurts and make them bleed. And that's the way. If, they have done unprovoked firing, you do so much unprovoked firing and reply them in the same coin that they raise their hand. And
sir,
they will.
Sir, it's just very simple. Every time we hit them and then we come back and we silence our guns. We hit them and we stay here. No, enough is enough. We not only hit them, we go and sit on their heads and say, we are not going back, you go back. Every single life, 1 kilometer for every single life that they take. Every person that they injure or their guns and their shells injure, we'll take half a kilometer away from them. We'll shrink that nation, we'll wipe them out till the time they defang this military establishment and they boot them out. That's the message that's got to come, and we have to be unequivocal, uncompromising on this to the international community also. We've got to take a very short break. Stay with us. For the funeral of those who are found in these terror markazes. It's all people in uniform. BSF Rangers, local police, Pak Army, they are all present there along with local politicians and mullahs. Top government sources are pointing at this, Group Captain MJ Vinod and viewers, and saying if military personnel and netas are attending the funeral of jihadis, what bigger proof that all of this is state-backed?
Absolutely. I don't think we have any doubt on that. In fact, I would have even looked at this particular funeral procession as itself as a very big target, because in one probably scalp, we could have taken out all of them. Anyway, be that as it may, the point is, Anand, we still have viable targets in Pakistan. For retribution, what target does Pakistan have? Actually, there's nothing. I think they should be thankful to India that we cleaned up a little bit of, trash which they wanted to and they couldn't. And we did their job. At least that is my take on the subject. And second and most important thing, Anand, is out of 21, we took out only 9.
Yeah.
We have more to go. So which means we will, we at least hold the right to revisit these rest of the targets.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, let me also tell you, for Pakistan to go back to the world to say, to do some kind of operation, I would look at, if I was a Pakistani, I would look at probably the dams. Because we stopped the water, the only viable target that he has to, he can go against.
Back live on this continuous rolling coverage. Viewers, please exercise discretion. There is a lot of disinformation that's being pushed around by those inimical to Bharat. Do not trust anything across social media handles. Trust the News 18 network. Trust our coverage as we bring you authentic, verified information. The pictures that you see around me on the screens is the result of unprovoked and unrelenting Pakistani guns firing at civilian areas in the Punch region, where a local Gurdwara, a Gita Bhavan, a masjid, all have been damaged, all have been hit. 12 people have died, 5 Sikhs, 12 Muslims, including women, children, and another 15-20 have been injured, maimed, all because of the Pakistani guns. And the Sikh community, outraged, has come out and outrightly condemned this heinous act by the Pakistan military.
आज एक बहुत ही दुखद घटना सुनने में आई और नापाक पाकिस्तान ने बौखलाहट में कायरतापूर्ण से जो उसने गुरु घर पे अटैक किया वो बहुत निंदनीय है। उसकी जितनी पुरजोर निंदा की जाए वो थोड़ी है। उसमें हमारे इराकी साहिबान 3 सिख भाई शहीद हुए हैं। अगर भारत ने आज अटैक किया है पाकिस्तान के ऊपर तो उन आतंकवादी अड्डों पे, उन कैंपों पे हमला किया है जहां से आतंकवादियों को ट्रेनिंग देके भारत के लिए भेजा जाता था। उन्होंने किसी सिविलियन या पाकिस्तान आर्मी पे भी अटैक नहीं किया। भारत सरकार ने जो आज बहुत ही प्रशंसनीय काम मैं समझता हूं, बधाई के पात्र हैं यहाँ के प्रधानमंत्री और सारी जनता।
पाकिस्तान ने जम्मू कश्मीर लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल ते जिहड़ी बंबारमेंट कीती है और जिहड़ी अवज्ञा कीती है उत्थों दी लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल दे उत्ते, वो सिद्धी गुरु घरां दे उत्ते और रिहायशी इलाकिਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੰਬ ਮਾਰੇ ਨੇ और बहुत वड्डी कैजुअलिटी हुई है जिहड़ी साडी सरकार या मीडिया हले नहीं दिखा रहा। शायद हिंदुस्तान ने जो स्ट्राइक की है पाकिस्तान के उत्ते तो उहदा राइट बनदा सी। तुसी आके जो पहलगाम च कीता सीगा और तुसी आतंकियां दे स्कूल और कॉलेज खुले हुए ने जिथे ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हो उत्थे तुहाडे उत्ते बंबारमेंट तुहाडे उत्ते स्ट्राइक्स होणियां सीगियां क्योंकि कई साल हो गए इसनूं बर्दाश्त करदे।
Brought to you by
for the funeral of those who are found in these terror markazes. It's all people in uniform. BSF Rangers, local police, Pak Army, they are all present there along with local politicians and mullahs. Top government sources are pointing at this, Group Captain MJ Vinod and viewers, and saying if military personnel and netas are attending the funeral of jihadis, what bigger proof that all of this is state-backed?
Absolutely. I don't think we have any doubt on that. In fact, I would have even looked at this particular funeral procession as itself as a very big target, because in one probably scalp, we could have taken out all of them. Anyway, be that as it may, the point is, Anand, we still have viable targets in Pakistan. For retribution, what target does Pakistan have? Actually, there's nothing. I think they should be thankful to India that we cleaned up a little bit of, trash which they wanted to and they couldn't. And we did their job. At least that is my take on the subject. And second and most important thing, Anand, is out of 21, we took out only 9.
Yeah.
We have more to go. So which means we will, we at least hold the right to revisit these rest of the targets.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, let me also tell you, for Pakistan to go back to the world to say, to do some kind of operation, I would look at, I mean, if I was a Pakistani, I would look at.
Thank you for staying with us here at CNN News 18. Continuous live rolling coverage of Operation Sindoor and post-Operation Sindoor, the reactions and what's happening on ground. Now, as part of the emergency contingency plan, several vehicles and buses have been kept on standby in Baramulla to evacuate civilian population if the situation escalates. Pakistan military is resorting to large-scale, unprovoked, brazen ceasefire violations and also firing at civilian areas. Also, religious establishments, local neutral establishments are also being targeted. Field stations, the UN field station, there was artillery shelling. In Punch, there has been shelling. In Baramulla, there has been large-scale damage to infrastructure and civilian lives. This has occurred due to Pakistan's unprovoked, unrequited shelling. Over 500 vehicles stationed in Baramulla, and this includes buses and other vehicles. Have a look at this.
So to ensure that the forces are able to take out any civilian who is in harm's way, the preparedness is there. Let me show you, these are the vehicles kept at the Government Degree College, Baramulla, where hundreds of vehicles, mini taxis have been kept available under a contingency plan to ensure that any person who feels stranded or if there is a need to relocate people living close to the line of control, that these vehicles prove a critical lifeline. Several of these drivers, these buses have been kept and stationed here to move any person living in the line of control. This is Government Degree College, Baramulla, where all of these vehicles have been kept stranded, waiting. What we have also given to understand is during the night times, the small arm and the artillery exchange which took place on the line of control. School buses, have also been kept here, and apart from school buses, taxis, big buses have also been brought here to ensure that if there's a need to evacuate civilian population from the line of control, as directed by the administration and the government, they're able to take them swiftly out, because civilians have been hit hard. Civilian areas in Poonch, civilian areas in Uri, and several other sectors have also been affected by the ceasefire violation by Pakistan, and that's why these buses have been kept here ready to ensure that in case it escalates, they're able to take out those civilian population living near the line of control. With Bashir Lone in Baramulla, Ishanwani for CNN News 18.
For the funeral of those who are found in these terror markazes, it's all people in uniform. BSF Rangers, local police, Pak Army, they are all present there along with local politicians and mullahs. Top government sources are pointing at this, Group Captain MJ Vinod and viewers, and saying if military personnel and netas are attending the funeral of jihadis, what bigger proof that all of this is state-backed?
Absolutely. I don't think we have any doubt on that. In fact, I would have even looked at this particular funeral procession as itself as a very big target, because in one probably scalp, we could have taken out all of them. Anyway, be that as it may, the point is, Anand, we still have viable targets in Pakistan. For retribution, what target does Pakistan have? Actually, there's nothing. I think they should be thankful to India that we cleaned up a little bit of, trash which they wanted to and they couldn't. And we did their job. At least that is my take on the subject. And second and most important thing, Anand, is out of 21, we took out only 9.
Yeah.
We have more to go. So which means we will, we at least hold the right to revisit these rest of the targets.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, let me also tell you, for Pakistan to go back to the world to say, to do some kind of operation, I would look at, if I was a Pakistani, I would look at probably the dams. Because we stopped the water, the only viable target that he can go against is probably a token attack on a dam. You can't break a dam. It takes, a few years to break a dam. But a token attack on dam is something which we should be watching out for. And Operation
But that's
Sindoor
an open act of war.
itself is
That's not a de-escalatory measure. That's an open act of war.
So is Poonch, Anand. This Poonch itself, Poonch has been completely evacuated. That's what my sources tell me. There's not a soul today. So Poonch itself is an open act of war, because number of people who have died in Poonch, your numbers and the numbers that I'm hearing are slightly in difference. I'm hearing numbers upwards of 20 and to 25, which is very close to the numbers that happened in Pulwama has happened in Poonch. So to me, Poonch is another Pulwama, and which requires even a bigger kick than what we have already given. The aspect about Operation Sindoor is also, it's an operation which is wrapped in courage and soaked in sacrifice.
Yes.
So it's like saying, you may break our hearts, but you'll never break our spirit. India moved with purpose, pride, and pain. If you look at, look at Delhi and people in Delhi, they all are very happy, but they are also in a heart of heart, they are, pained because so many people were killed. Sindoor, like you rightly said, is not only a marriage between a man and a woman, but also a marriage between soldier and the soil. It is the color of the blood, yes, correct, but it is also a color of commitment. And this is not retaliation. This is a retribution with responsibility. So that is what I look at.
Thank you for staying with us here at CNN News 18 on our continuous rolling coverage post-Operation Sindoor, where Pahalgam was avenged. Within 2 weeks of the 22nd of April, when the Pahalgam massacre happened, Bharat has struck back. Precise, focused and retributive. Identified, tracked, punished. Operation Sindoor, sending a clear message to Pakistan after the brutal murder of 26 Indian tourists in Pahalgam. A nation of over 1 billion demanding justice, and Bharat responding with 21 precision strikes at 9 terror locations, reducing lashkar-e-taiba and jaish-e-mohammed headquarters to rubble. Even Jaish chief Masood Azhar's family, core part operations of this entire terror organization hub in Bawalpur, they were hit and neutralized in the strikes. As Pakistan contemplates retaliation, Bharat standing ready, firm in its doctrine of strength, resolve, proving yet again that those who shed Bharatiya blood will pay the price. The government will be convening an all-party meeting later in the day to discuss the situation. On the other hand, Pakistan, quite rattled with India's counter to terrorism and the war on terror that's been now waged and unleashed, continues to warmonger, a lot of bluster, a lot of disinformation. And while the Pakistan Defence Minister Khwaja Asif, when confronted by CNN on his fake claims of shooting down 5 Indian jets, said it was all over social media. The Pak civilian establishment, their members in the Pak civilian government seem to be clueless. They seem to be totally disconnected and blocked out by the Pak military establishment. And a lot of what their bluster and their claims is purely conjecture. Viewers, don't trust anything that's emanating from Pakistan. Trust verified, authenticated news that's being put out here on your channel, the News 18 network and CNN News 18.
साथियों, जैसी कि आप सबको जानकारी है कि कल रात हमारी भारतीय सेनाओं ने अपने अद्भुत शौर्य और पराक्रम का परिचय देते हुए एक नया इतिहास रच दिया है। हमारी सेनाओं ने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर लॉन्च करके पहले की तरह ही इस बार भी आतंकियों को ट्रेनिंग देने वाले कैंप्स को तबाह करके करारा जवाब दिया है। भारत ने अपनी सरजमी पर हुए हमले का जवाब देने के लिए अपने राइट टू रेस्पॉन्ड का इस्तेमाल किया है और हमारी यह कार्रवाई बेहद सोच समझकर सधे हुए तरीके से की गई है। आतंकियों के हौसले पस्त करने के उद्देश्य से यह कार्रवाई महज उनके कैंप्स और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तक ही सीमित रखी गई है। मैं पुनः हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के शौर्य को मैं नमन करता हूं।
Can you provide more detail? And is this the response that your army spokesman threatened, or is there further action to come. Let's start with this very specific allegation of 5 fighter jets shot down. Where's the evidence for that, sir?
It's all over the social media, on Indian social media, not on our social media. The debris of these jets fell into Indian occupied Kashmir, and it's all over Indian media today.
You're the defense
and they have
minister.
admitted their media has.
The reason to talk to you today, sir, is not to talk about content all over social media. I'm sorry. It's not to talk about content all over social media. I'm asking you very specifically for the evidence, for the detail. For example, was any Chinese equipment used by Pakistan to down these Rafale jets, as I understand you are alleging them to be?
There are no Chinese equipment. We have Chinese planes, JF-17 and JF-10. They are Chinese planes, but they are being manufactured, assembled in Pakistan now. We have very close to Islamabad, we have a facility over there where these planes are manufactured. And if India can buy planes from France and use them, we can also buy planes from China or Russia or United States or UK and use them. And let me say one thing. They have already admitted that the 3 planes were down.
Brazen lies. Siddhant Mishra is with us. Siddhant Mishra, has Bharat ever claimed officially that 3 planes have been downed?
No, Anand. As we were discussing before also, these motor-mouth ministers have no other work. They don't know what is going to be the next move of Rawalpindi, perhaps what is going on in Asim Munir's mind. All they are left with is to go to media and make irresponsible statements, perhaps so that, tension can escalate between the two countries. All they are left out is with the handouts that they get from Rawalpindi, and they are told to follow that script word by word. And this Khwaja Asifs and Ishaq Dars of the world are doing the same from last 3 weeks, Anand, since the Pahalgam terror attack. And in fact, in the same series, this fresh irresponsible statement from Khwaja Asif has come, where he is claiming that Indian jets have been shot down. And in fact, in the same interview, he was told by this TV journalist when she asked that where is the evidence. So he said that it's all over social media. Perhaps a sitting defense minister making such an irresponsible statement, reflects upon the character of the country. But also the fact, Anand, is that, before Pahalgam terror attack, even we were not aware of somebody called Khwaja Asif, who happens to be the defense minister of Pakistan. Because he doesn't call the shots. He doesn't know what's going to be the next move. He has a very little information. All he's left with is handout, and his work is to go to the media and read those handouts.
Right. Ishan Wani is also with us at this point. Ishan, a lot of false claims that are being made. Is there a clear effort to try and sift out the disinformation?
Well, absolutely. There's a lot of disinformation. Not the first and possibly not the last to have disinformation campaign when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir. Anand, prior to this particular incident, the army always used to say that Pakistan has a large, disinformation campaign in regard to Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of India. They have been running. Now, over the years, the army also tried to ensure that they are able to decode and try to hit back to the disinformation campaign that the Pakistan and Pakistan government and the Pakistani establishment had launched in regard to Jammu and Kashmir. Still there is. The PIB is trying to fact check. There are agencies trying to fact check. There are civil society groups who are fact checking them with facts. I am in Uri right now, and there is palpable calm. During the night time, it has witnessed intense shelling. And I'll show you that example of how people and army is closely knitted to each other in Uri. My VJ Bashir Loan will show you. This is a board at Uri where it says Awam Ki Fauj, and this highlights basically the the cooperation between both the army and the civilian population in Uri, and particularly these areas have a very close contact with Uri. It has witnessed during the night time a massive shelling, and people at in some areas have already relocated, considering the fact that they have small kids and shells have landed in their residential houses. The people have started to relocate, but the government is also on their toes. They are trying to ensure that the safety remains paramount for the locals and civilians alike. But this misinformation that is being spread, not only the Chief Minister, Lieutenant Governor and every person in Kashmir has told them, just go through the official handles, just go through the official websites and don't rely on the information that is coming through on Twitter, on X and on WhatsApp. Just rely on the information that is authentic from the government. There is an attempt being made to have a campaign against the security forces, the army, the infrastructure in Jammu and Kashmir. People are worried. There is a bit of panic. Can't deny the fact that people are in panic given the fact the situation where it has reached. But yes, there is calm right now and people are moving to safer
Where are you right now in
Uri,
Ishan, and what is the situation? Siddhant, I'll just come back to you on the diplomatic aspect of it in a bit. Just stay with us live. You're on air. So is Ishan. I just want to understand, Uri, where are you, Ishan, right now? And do you see effects of Pakistani unprovoked shelling and firing? Because that's happened through the night, even in Uri, along with Poonch, Mindar, Kupwara, Baramulla, where we saw your report from Baramulla, where buses are kept at the ready in case there has to be an urgent evacuation of people to safety. What's the situation in Uri where you are?
Well, we have noticed that there is less traffic on the road today. A lot of people have actually moved out. People who can afford to relocate to hotels in Baramulla or to Srinagar to their relatives, they have moved out. I'll give you an idea about the area. Bashir will show you the sort of terrain that exists in Uri. These are the high mountain ranges, and nested there are also houses of people who live up in the mountains. These are typically Gujars living there, and also people from other communities who live on the top of these mountains, and they survive with their cattle. They have a lot of stuff which they need to relocate. And if there is any relocation, remind you that it will take a lot of time for them to come down, because they live on the fringes, on difficult terrain in Uri, and if they have to come down towards any other part, they have to also take care of the cattle that they have, and for them that becomes that's a part of their life and living. So they have to take them along, or they have to keep somebody back there. So it's a tragedy that due to the Pakistan shelling, a lot of families are getting uprooted, relocated, their houses are getting damaged, the vehicles have also been shelled, and civilian population is right now in chaos. And the government is trying to ensure that all the relief and rehabilitation, if needed at any given point, they are not caught unaware. They have the enough resources to ensure that people can move out in the vulnerable times.
We are still in the process, viewers, because this is live rolling coverage, can be openly transparent and honest with our viewers here. And this is all, and what you'd hear is verified, authenticated information. People like Akash, Ishan, Mudassir, so many others who've been covering right across Jammu and Kashmir and what's happened along the LC have seen some pictures which are very, very disturbing, very, very gory. Ishan, the targeting of the Gurdwara, the Panthis who were affected, who died, who succumbed, some of them maimed and injured. There are pictures even in Uri where locals, civilians have been badly injured. Some of these pictures very, very gory. You saw some of it. What are the people saying on ground? What is the feeling when you see such unprovoked firing at religious establishments, at civilians, at entities and structures which have got nothing to do with the ongoing conflict between the two nations, and the Pakistani military has been deliberately targeting these areas?
Well, Anand, it's sad. The people are angry, people are upset, and people are also afraid. The sort of images that have come in since yesterday has made people think about the sort of action that Pakistan has undertaken in civilian areas, particularly in Poonch, where a Gurudwara was targeted. The pictures that I even saw yesterday, which we cannot broadcast, were a very it just breaks you down. The sort of injuries that was inflicted to people living in Mindar, in Poonch, where houses after houses, shells were bombarded on them, and which resulted in chaos, injuries, and death. I mean, people were outside their houses, suddenly a shell lands and it destroys your family. It happened in a Gurudwara where Sikh disciples were inside when the shells landed. I told you that even the UN's observer group post was also where the shells landed. We also have those images since yesterday. So there is no place that they are sparing, be it the religious place, be it the civilian population. It is not new also. In 2019, when the application of Article 370 took place, I was here reporting in Uri, Kupwara. I extensively traveled to the line of control. Clear picture was that even families were uprooted. There was a family whose daughter was getting married. After 3 days, their entire house was blasted by a Pakistani shell. So these stories have been there. It's just that we later on forget this and move on. But the stories are there for us to be told that how people live in misery. In Uri itself, in a Silikot village, which is ahead of the fence, I have met a family whose son was set to join the Indian Army in a couple of days. He had received an official letter. But before he could, there was a day when he went out and the shell from Pakistan landed right in their house, which resulted in damage to his limb, led to his permanent disability, and later on he couldn't join the army. So there are stories after stories, and this will also be part of a story which we will tell. But remember, we cannot forget it. We cannot move on. There are people who are being, attacked.
It's not about forgetting.
A lot of
it's about always
civilian
remembering.
areas.
It's about never forgiving, never forgetting. Ishan, and now it is time to bring these people to account. This lot, which has affected so much of, so many cuts and so many injuries to Indians on Indian soil, needs to be held accountable now. And it's not supposed to be that we do something and then we back off, because that doesn't seem to be able to tame this enemy or make them mend their ways. Going across to Siddhant. Siddhant, we are the victims, or India is the victim here. Pakistan is the villain, the Pakistani military. ये जो दहशतगर्दी है, इसके पीछे पाकी वर्दी है. Is this something that Bharatiya establishment is trying to tell the world? In the briefings, is the Foreign Secretary very clear that this is what the UNSC, the UN, all the diplomats, envoys who are being briefed have to understand?
Yes, that's absolutely right, Anand. And in fact, Anand, India is not in a business of protecting any proxy group. India is not in a business of, getting TRF's name removed or, some nefarious design India has. Perhaps this is the reason that India is keeping things very transparent when it comes to dealing with the other countries. In fact, yesterday we both spoke about how NSA Doval spoke to 8 of his counterparts worldwide, including his Russian, Chinese counterparts as well. In fact, EM S. Jaishankar is in constant touch with his counterparts. Yesterday, a foreign secretary called envoys and representatives of UNSC countries, member countries, to the South Block office for the briefing. So, there is nothing to hide. We have done responsible, measured strikes, and perhaps we are officially confirming that, and our position is very clear that no civilian sites were targeted, no military
Siddhant, just stay with us. We've got Surjan Singh ji. He's the uncle of Amarjeet Singh ji. Amarjeet Singh ji sadly lost his life last evening when this entire shelling happened at the Gurdwara in Poonch. Surjan Singh ji, namaste, Jai Hind, and sorry for your loss.
And sorrow.
सुजन सिंह जी, कल क्या हुआ था, आप जरा बता सकेंगे हमारे दर्शकों को?
सर, कल यहाँ पर परसों रात को जब 2 बजे के बाद फायरिंग सेलिंग स्टार्ट हुई यहाँ पर पुंछ में, तो एक पैनिक जैसी मच गई, क्योंकि एक बहुत सिविलिंग एरिया में ये बमबारी की गई। वहाँ जितने भी गोला जो बम गिरे वो सिविलिंग एरिया में गिरे। इससे पहले कभी नहीं हुआ, क्योंकि 47 की भी हमने देखी, 65 की भी देखी, 71 की, करगिल की भी देखी, उसके बाद हमारी किरनी बॉर्डर की देखी, तो ये इतना नहीं था। वो बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये बनी कि यहाँ पर तमाम सिविलिंग के घर पर पाकिस्तान ने गोले गिराए। मेरा बेटा था अमरजीत सिंह, जो मेरा भतीजा है, वो बड़ा भतीजा मेरे बड़े भाई का, वो फौज की नौकरी करता है 22 साल
जी।
उसने वहां नहीं शहीदी दी, पर यहाँ पर उसने शहीदी दी। वो भी हमको बचा रहा था, सभी बच्चों को ऐसे करो ऐसे करो, ऐसे ड्रिलिंग मार के था, तो बता रहा था, पर अचानक जब हम सोए हुए थे घर में, मैं अपने बेडरूम में सोया, उसी बेडरूम पर जब बम गिरा कर, तो वहां पर मैं भी सोया था, मेरा बेटा भी सोया था। तो जो स्प्लेंडर था उसको पार थोड़ा सा दूर 10 फुट वो खड़ा था, उसको लग गया, जो डायरेक्ट उसको मैं चेस्ट में हिट कर गया स्प्लेंडर। उसके बाद हमने ऑपरेशन वगैरह करवाया तो उसको नहीं, और सर्वाइव नहीं कर सका। पर हम फक्र करते हैं, हमारा फौजी बेटा था, फौज में उसने बहुत अच्छी नौकरी की, यहाँ पर शहीदी भी थी। और एक बात मैं आपके माध्यम से मीडिया से बात करना चाहता हूँ कि हम 47 से यही देख रहे हैं कि जब भी दोनों मुल्क में ऐसी बातें होती हैं, लड़ाई आती है या जंग चलती है, तो ये सिविलियन जो पीछे जाते हैं। तो मैं भारत की सरकार से निवेदन करता हूँ, बेनती करता हूँ कि आप ऐसा करें कि ये एक किस्सा ही खत्म करें, ताकि आने वाले वक्त में सभी लोग हम अच्छे रहें, अच्छी तरीके से जिंदगी बसर करें। पाक से हम यहाँ पर आए तो यहाँ पर भी प्रॉब्लम बन गई है। तो कल यही हुआ कि 7:45 बजे यहाँ पर जो बम गिरा, उसके बाद फिर पैनिक फैल गई, परिवार सारा, बच्चे भी, मुझे भी थोड़ी, मेरे बच्चे को भी लगी। और बेटा जो था मेरा अमरजीत सिंह, जो मेरा भतीजा था, मेरे भाई का लड़का था, उसको वो 2 घंटे के बाद उसकी डेथ हो गई थी।
जी, आपको, आपके परिवार को, अमरजीत सिंह को हमारा सैल्यूट है, हमारा सलाम है। वाहिगुरु उनको सद्गति दे, उनकी आत्मा को, दिवंगत आत्मा को। लेकिन सुरजन सिंह जी, आपको क्या लगता है सरकार को क्या करना चाहिए?
तो सरकार को यही करना चाहिए कि सरकार 47 से हम यही पीसते रहेंगे, हम कहाँ जाएं, क्या करें, क्या नहीं कर सकते हैं। ये मुझे ऐसा है कि एक बिल्कुल बॉर्डर के नजदीक हम रहते हैं, सिटी है, ये एक रियासती वक्त के मुताबिक, तो ये कुछ ना कोई फैसला होना चाहिए। कम से कम पाकिस्तान को सबक सिखाना चाहिए, उसको पता चले कि भाई ये क्या क्या कैसे करते हैं। जब कश्मीर में वायलेंस करते हैं, वहां पर किलिंग करते हैं, टारगेट किलिंग करते हैं। यहाँ पर जो सिविलियन की जो हिट किए गए घर, वो बिल्कुल टारगेट किलिंग, सिविलियन के घर थे उनको टारगेट किया गया, बमिंग कर, गुरुद्वारा पर पड़े, मस्जिद में ही पड़ा, मदरसे में ही पड़ा। तो मैं आपके माध्यम से ये सोल्यूशन चाहता हूँ कि हमारा जो सोल्यूशन निकालें, ये इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर करें। ये पूरा इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर हो जाए तो हमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं बनेगी, हम सर्वाइव करेंगे। हम जम्मू से 300 किलोमीटर पुंछ रहते हैं, ये डिस्ट्रिक्ट लास्ट डिस्ट्रिक्ट है पुंछ। जम्मू से हम पूरा दिन लगता है पुंछ आने में
जी।
तो आपने बहुत दूर तक हमारी बात पहुंचानी है। हमारा डैमेज हो गया, बहुत घर से डैमेज हुए। सरकार हमें उस फैकल्टी से उस फैसिलिटी दे, हमें वापस हम इसी जिंदगी को सर्वाइव करने के लिए हम वापस आए। दूसरा ये हुकूमत से हम कहते हैं कि ये जम्मू कश्मीर से लेकर द्रास से लेकर छमजुड़िया तक इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर बनना चाहिए।
जो सबक सिखाया ऑपरेशन सिंदूर से, क्या सरकार को वहीं रुक जाना चाहिए कि और इनको सिखाने की जरूरत है सबक, और क्या चीजों को ठीक करने की जरूरत है?
भाईचारा जो है वो तो सामने दिखता है कैसा है कैसा नहीं है, पर जो ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है। क्या हुआ, नहीं तो और सिखाना चाहिए इनको, और बताना चाहिए कि वाकई भाई हिंदुस्तान एक सुपर पावर है, इसमें कोई नहीं जो उन्होंने किया। ये हमारे घर में फौजी था, अगर फौज में भी होता तो वो बेचारा फौज में भी शहीद हो सकता था। हमें फक्र है हमारा बेटा फौजी है, पर ये इतना नहीं काफी, और ज्यादा होना चाहिए। उन लोगों को पता चलना चाहिए, क्योंकि भाई ये भाईचारा, प्रेम और आपस में प्यार करने का तरीका उनको आना चाहिए इन लोगों को। हम यहाँ पर रहते हैं, ज्यादा पॉपुलेशन ममदन की है, वो भाईचारा अच्छा भाईचारा, अच्छे लोग हैं हमारे साथ। पर कुछ लोग जो बाहर से पाकिस्तान से आकर, बॉर्डर से आकर यहाँ पर एक टेरर फैलाते हैं, लोगों को भगाते हैं, लोगों की प्रॉपर्टी को छीनने की कोशिश करते हैं ताकि ये लोग चले जाएं। तो मैं हुकूमत से यही करता हूँ कि कड़ा कदम उठाए, हम जाए। सैल्यूट करते हैं अपने बेटे को, फौज सारी हम फौज के साथ हैं, कंधा से कंधा जोड़कर हम फौज के साथ चलते हैं। 70 में हमने गोले उठाकर, बम उठाकर पोस्टों पर गए, टिकट पर गए। तो अब भी हम कहते हैं कि फौज के बिल्कुल साथ हैं, हम हुकूमत के भी साथ हैं, अच्छा काम करेंगे। जितना हुआ ये वैसे भी इतना नहीं होना चाहिए, लोगों को सबक सिखाना चाहिए वक्त के मुताबिक, ताकि ये लोगों में टेरर ना फैलाएं, प्यार की बात करें।
इनको सबक सिखाना जरूरी है। आप ठीक हैं? आप ठीक हैं? आपको भी चोट लगी है आपने कहा?
चोट लगी है, थोड़ी कान में चोट लगी है, बेटे में लगी थोड़ी।
ये आप कह रहे हैं कि पहली बार घरों के अंदर इन्होंने, पाकिस्तानी मिलिट्री ने शेलिंग की है?
पहली बार हुई, बस देखा ना कि यहाँ पे मैं नहीं कहता हूँ कि भाई किसी ने अपनी मेलाफाइड तरीके से किसी टेंशन से गुरुद्वारा मंदिर मस्जिद में, पर इस बार गुरुद्वारा मंदिर मस्जिद में जाकर बम भी गिरे, क्योंकि वो सिटी में रहते थे लोग, तमाम लोग सिटी में थे बिल्कुल, तो सिविलियन लोग थे, तो इतनी बमबारी की कि इतने दहशत में लोग आ गए कि भाई पूरा पुंछ जो था वो 2 बजे से लेकर 10 बजे तक घर से बाहर नहीं निकल सका। तो वो सिर्फ सिविलियन को हिट कर रहे थे, सिविलियन के बस इधर ही, बाकी पोस्टों पर तो उनका गोला पड़ा या नहीं पड़ा उनका बम, पर यहाँ पर सिविलियन बहुत
कहीं आपको लगता है कि जानबूझ के उन्होंने ये किया है?
13 जाने की 5-6 सरदार हैं हमारे, घर हमारे बहुत डैमेज हुए।
पर सुरजन सिंह जी, मैं बस जानना चाहता हूँ, आपने कहा 47 से आपने अब तक देखा है, इस बार आपको लगा कि जानबूझ के उन्होंने सिविलियंस को टारगेट किया, घरों को टारगेट किया, मंदिर मस्जिद गुरुद्वारों को टारगेट किया इस बार?
बिल्कुल सर, मेरे जो भाई हैं वो इस वक्त 83-84 है, मेरे मामा जी हैं, वो को 85 साल के, फादर साहब पिछले साल मेरी डेथ हुई को 101 साल की। वो कहते कभी शहर में इतना, जो सिटी में शहर में कभी गोला नहीं आता था, ये तो वार वायलेशन हुआ पाकिस्तान की तरफ से। हमें नहीं पता पाकिस्तान में क्या हुआ, ये तो हम जो वो पता टीवी में, पर जो पाकिस्तान ने किया एक वार वायलेशन किया और सिविलियन पर जो बम बरसाए, लोगों को डराया ताकि ये पुंछ लोग छोड़ लोग को चले जाएं, तो पुंछ सारी खाली होगी सर। हिंदू लोग तो मेरे ख्याल में 75% जम्मू चलेगी, बाहर हैं वापस, वो जाएंगे तो नहीं आएंगे जरूर, पर तो टेरर हो गया, डर गए काफी बच्चे लोग। इसलिए हम यही कहते हैं कि एक अच्छा इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर बने, ताकि हम 47 से पता चले कि मोदी साहब आए हमारे में तो कुछ ना कुछ करके गए। हम इस यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं, ये लोग रह रहे हैं, ये कस्टोडियन के मकान है, हम मालिक भी नहीं है। ट्रेलर जो है वो पाकिस्तानी है, जो पाकिस्तान का यहाँ से पाकिस्तान चला गया, उसके मकान में जो लोग रहते हैं वो मकान कस्टोडियन का है, जम्मू में किराया लेते हैं लोग उससे। तो फिर मेरे ख्याल क्या हमें कुछ फायदा नहीं मिला, हम बस भारत सरकार से
जी
हम यही कहते हैं कि ऐसा कदम उठाए ताकि हमें भी कुछ मिले यहाँ पर।
जी, जो यहाँ भारत के साथ रहे हैं, जो भारत से जुड़ कर रहे हैं, उनके लिए कुछ तो करना चाहिए भारत सरकार को। सुरजन सिंह जी, वंस अगेन कंडोलेंसेस, भगवान अमरजीत सिंह जी की आत्मा को शांति दे, आपको भी थोड़ी ताकत दे कि आप इसको सह सकें। कुछ वक्त के लिए थोड़ी सी कठिनाई और होगी, बट I hope things will get better. We all hope, all of Bharat hopes that, and we are all there with you in prayers. Thank you for speaking with us, Surjan Singh ji. But the message to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his government, the Indian Armed Forces is very clear from the civilians who are suffering on ground. End this suffering for us, draw the international border, push the Pakistani military away from our lines, and make sure they never have the courage to target us, civilians, innocents, and these structures ever again. That's the humble, straightforward message from an uncle who's lost his nephew, who served 20 years as a soldier in the Indian Armed Forces. There are many more such stories coming from Poonch and other regions that have endured unseen before shelling from the Pakistani military. We get you more after the break. Stay with us. For the funeral of those who are found in these terror markazes, it's all people in uniform. BSF Rangers, local police, Pak Army, they are all present there along with local politicians and mullahs. Top government sources are pointing at this, Group Captain MJ Vinod and viewers, and saying if military personnel and netas are attending the funeral of jihadis, what bigger proof that all of this is state-backed?
Absolutely. I don't think we have any doubt on that. In fact, I would have even looked at this particular funeral procession as itself as a very big target, because in one probably scalp, we could have taken out all of them. Anyway, be that as it may, the point is, Anand, we still have viable targets in Pakistan. For retribution, what target does Pakistan have? Actually, there's nothing. I think they should be thankful to India that we cleaned up a little bit of trash which they wanted to and they couldn't. And we did their job. At least that is my take on the subject. And second and most important thing, Anand, is out of 21, we took out only 9.
Yeah.
We have more to go. So which means we will, we at least hold the right to revisit these rest of the targets.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, let me also tell you, for Pakistan to go back to the world to say, to do some kind of operation, I would look at, if I was a Pakistani, I would look at probably the dams. Because we stopped the water, the only viable target that he can go against is probably a token attack on a dam. You can't break a dam. It takes, a few years to break a dam. But a token attack on dam is something which we should be watching out for. And Operation
But that's
Sindoor
an open act of war. That's not a de-escalatory measure. That's an open act of war.
So is Poonch, Anand. This Poonch itself, Poonch has been completely evacuated. That's what my sources tell me. There's not a soul today. So Poonch itself is an open act of war, because number of people who have died in Poonch, your numbers and the numbers that I'm hearing are slightly in difference. I'm hearing numbers upwards of 20 and to 25, which.
Back live with more news coming through. Defense sources are giving us more details about Operation Sindoor. So let's try and understand this. The Indian Air Force used its frontline fighters to strike in Pakistan without crossing the line of control or the LC. So the Rafale, the Sukhoi 30 MKI, the Mirage 2000, all these were pressed into service to hit terror infrastructure with precision ammunition. We'll try and go across to Akash for more details. Akash, what kind of special precision ammunition was used? And it was not just Rafale.
Yes, Anand, the frontline jets were used. You rightly pointed out. Rafale is one of them, but then we had, Su-30 MKI and Mirage 2000. Mirage 2000, remember, is known for dropping bombs. We have seen in 2019, and we have seen during Kargil as well, Anand, how Mirage 2000 was used then too. In fact, this time around, while it is about these targets, so we had 9 targets, as we have been discussing since yesterday. 2 or 3 of the targets that were the distant targets, were basically engaged by Indian Air Force, we have been told. And Indian Air Force was using, a number of weapons that are, of course, that these jets are equipped with. One of it is Scalp missile. Scalp missile is very capable subsonic missile, I can say, that is known for its, precision hit. In fact, we have seen in the other conflicts as well throughout the world where this missile is used, and this time around we have been told that this missile was used given the fact that targets were up to 100 kilometers and this missile can hit up to 250 kilometers. This is a subsonic missile that can go with a speed of 380 meters per second, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So this missile was very much used, and our Rafale are very much equipped with this sort of missile. The other one, is Spice 2000 bomb. Anand, this is one, Israeli weapon, and, it was very much used in 2019 Balakot strikes as well. At that time there were some sort of controversies, but Indian Air Force has relied on it, and it is, one of the potent weapon that they have. We have been told that Su-30 MKI was kept for defense because, there were only 2 possible scenarios. First one, that Pakistan won't respond at all because, they will not know that, someone has hit their territory.
Right.
Or, they will scramble their jet and, will come back. So that's why, Su-30 MKI was very much capped at the standby. In fact, were airborne.
Su-30 MKI is BrahMos equipped, Anand. You know, I was trying to get a confirmation if BrahMos was used at all, but I haven't got any sort of confirmation from my sources either. But Su-30 MKI, that is BrahMos equipped, Anand, was very much there for the defense. So these fighter jets were used. We know that how Indian Army in fact used, howitzers and kamikaze drones as well. You know, precision munition, smart ammunition is what we have been discussing since yesterday, Anand. And these are the few details that we have gathered from our sources where a scalp missile was used and also, Spice 2000 was very much used by the Indian Air Force.
So loitering munitions, so there could be the use of UAVs or kamikaze drones. You're also, and on also the hammer. So Spice 2000, is that also called the hammer? Or are these two different missile and weapon systems?
Right. So as far as Spice 2000 is concerned, so the family has got several other weapons. I mean, Spice 1000 as well and Spice 1. So, hammer can be for some other weapon, but Spice 2000 is known by the name Spice 2000. It has got a big family of the similar weapons. So we have got different other bombs as well. But it is, one weapon that has got its navigation system, and one can rely on the sort of system it has, the guidance system. You can just, feed the location, and it will go and, it will precisely hit the target. Back in 2019, and just one context, back in 2019, it was widely discussed that, the GPS, there was some sort of error in the GPS, and that's why there was a error of around 10 meters. However, it is not a reliable theory. We have no confirmation on it. But yes, somewhere the GPS, the system was in fact discussed for this particular bomb.
Right. But the other thing, Akash, Khwaja Asif, the Pak Defence Minister, has claimed that India has confirmed it's falling off or it losing 3 aircraft. Is there any confirmation like this, or is the Defence Minister of Pakistan brazenly lying there, sitting on international media?
First of all, Anand, it's a sort of an embarrassment for Pakistan, and that's why they are, coming out with several sort of claims. Initially, they said that, they have several soldiers of Indian Army, captured and are, in their custody. But then they, in fact, their own media rebutted, those claims. As far as, aircraft are concerned, jets are concerned, whether or not they down any jet. So, it is still not out in the public domain. We are, in fact, getting several sort of reports where, there are theories that some UAV was downed by the Pakistani Air Force. But still, we have no confirmation, no official confirmation. And this is the time, Anand, when we have several sort of fake narratives, going on in social media. In fact, there are several sort of claims and counterclaims.
No, here, this is where I'm not going about claims and counterclaims. I'm just going by the official statement, because the defense minister of a country cannot go by saying it's all over social media. One. The other thing is, he has come out and said that India has confirmed this. When a defense minister of a country says India has confirmed this, that means he is stating and holding to account the Indian government, and that there has been an official acceptance of the same or a confirmation of the same. That's what I'm asking you. I'm not going by claims, theories, etc. and all that.
Yeah. Anand, I can confirm that there is no official confirmation of any, jet destroyed or downed by Pakistani Air Force till now.
So, very clearly, the Defence Minister of Pakistan is sitting on international media and brazenly lying, trying to just ramp up this entire bluster and disinformation. The world needs to watch the Defence Minister of Pakistan, and if the Defence Minister of Pakistan is clueless, and this is what he is talking to CNN, then very clearly, none of the world establishments or the government should trust Pakistan. The other aspect is the civilian government, the defense minister, their foreign minister, their deputy prime minister, etc., have no clue what their military establishment is doing. So these are two things which stand out. Colonel Rohit Dev is also with us on the phone line. Akash, just stay with us. Colonel Rohit Dev, one, on Operation Sindoor, the details that we've got, we'll talk about this. But before that, I just want to get your thoughts. When a defense minister of a country sits and brazenly lies, does that not erode any credibility that civilian government would have? Does that not erode the entire trust that anybody should have on a nation like Pakistan. Ji.
Anand, I think this is a good thing which that minister has said, because I'll tell you why. When you remember when we struck at Balakot and things beyond that, and one of the incidents when brave Abhinandan was had to bail out there in their territory after hitting the F-16. At that time, you saw all the pictures emanating within 15 minutes, right? 15 minutes.
Yeah.
With the MiG down and the pilot down. So if these jokers had anything on them, they would have come with that. So what has happened is there is a pure DGISPR 1500 bots who were recruited 3 years back. Their only thing is to create a narrative before a narrative. So what happens is you are anticipating strikes, things like that. So these bots actually create these posts and everything, and they use handles. They can use a handle called Colonel Rohit tomorrow morning to make it look more genuine. And that is what that minister, I can't use a foul language here, but he has used in a foreign media. And when he was confronted, he actually said that what you are saying is he saw post on Twitter. So I think the credibility of Pakistan, the more it goes down, it actually shows to FATF and the community abroad, whom we are trying to connect with, to rekindle and putting them in blacklist, to say that these people make off-the-cuff statements even at that senior political position. You see the handle of government of Pakistan on Twitter today. If you scroll that, they are putting that Shehbaz Khan in a suit and finally he lands in a hospital. They are talking about striking Indian planes. I don't know what they're consuming, because this country actually has gone to dogs. Otherwise, one more theory could be that this politician is trying to irk Mr. Munir, the terrorist there, that your plans are going awry and we are trying to now call the bluff by stupid statements being made here and there.
It's not about calling the bluff. They are clueless. They have no clue. The defense minister of Pakistan believes an aircraft is going to be downed by another aircraft. He has no clue that there should be a
minister is not seeing Twitter, Anand. It has been fed to him by DGISPR what he has to speak in a foreign interview.
No,
these politicians in Pakistan are absolutely under control. When they sit in a briefing, there's a colonel or a major sitting behind them, even behind the prime minister.
No, not even a briefing. This person said it's all over social media and Indian social media. That's the defense minister. And then he says that India has confirmed the downing of 3 aircraft. So where has India officially confirmed this for a defense minister to quote anyone? So
not confirmed, and probably, I'm not part of the government, but it's good to say that we deny it, because there is nothing. If there has been even some piece of Indian uniform found in, the LC sector or the Pakistan, territory.
It's not about what we would suppose, theorize, etc. Colonel Rohit Dev. It's purely about a defense minister. If he's quoting India has confirmed, then he has to confirm he has to quote the Indian government. He cannot go and quote whatever is being put out on social media or peddled as disinformation.
Agree,
That's
Anand.
one.
I agree with you.
So clearly, shouldn't Bharat take cognizance of this and expose the Pakistani government as being civilian government as being clueless, and also spreading disinformation.
This interview will be used to further strengthen the dossier of saying that Pakistan is a propagandist and it's not coming out with facts any time and not cooperating and only spreading lies. It's going to be used.
Right.
So
the other part. Now let's come back to Operation Sindoor. The information that we've got, it was not just Rafale. The Pakistani claim that there were 80 fighter jets and they downed 5 of them. 5 jets which had 2 UAVs. So they don't even know. This is their official, their biggest news platform. This is the line, this is the headline that put that 5 jets were downed, including 2 UAVs. So UAVs and jets have been put together. They don't know the difference of the wording, etc. So this is the level of disinformation. Let's come back to what is authentic and verified information. There were multiple aircraft that were put into use by the Indian Air Force, and they didn't cross the line of control. There were Rafale, there were Sukhoi 30s, MKI, and also the Mirage 2000. Sukhoi 30 taking a defensive position, the use of Scalp, and also Spice 2000, Colonel Rohit Dev.
Yes, so we have already defined what we have used. Our channels have already broadcasted it immediately after the strike as well. So I think we should go by what we have said. I mean, for Pakistan to say we have crossed, not crossed, I mean, do they even understand what airspace is? I mean, I'm getting a feeling that the Pakistani DGISPR is devoid of military knowledge and trying to, pump in segments and their, narrative through social media, which is not making sense at all. So let's not even go there to, discern what they're saying, because they're going to say anything today, because they've got a Awam they have fooled for last 7 decades. and they have to take out these backdated photographs of Indian aircrafts which have probably crashed in a Pokhran exercise or near
does the use of Scalp and Spice 2000 also now then explain to us, along with certain loitering munition or kamikaze drones, now explain to us how is it that we were able to strike deep into Pakistan, Punjab, places like Bawalpur and also Muridke without even crossing the LC?
You see, Anand, Bawalpur and Muridke are primarily the launch pads from where the strike was coming, right? They have mobilized, we have wasted their fuel for 10 days. Now we made a statement that during this time of mobilization in Pakistan Army, their tactical and strategic move is that the terrorists and the army combines together in their so-called headquarters to make plans, right? So when that happens, we have struck those camps. Now, if Pakistani military, somebody has died there, they will not talk about it because they can't talk about it, right?
Right.
But we have given them the adequate feeder that if we can strike Bawalpur terrorist camp or a headquarter, obviously 8-10 kilometers here and there, we can strike all your bases as well.
Right. Colonel Rohit.
And today the precision munition and the kind of help we have got from our friendly countries in terms of the state-of-the-art equipment is so good. I mean, I'm not naming the countries, but you will appreciate that there is a lot of angst against this terrorist state called Pakistan, and people are even helping us with hardware today to strike them. Right,
Colonel Rohit, thank you for speaking with us. Going back to Akash. Akash, even as we speak, go ahead please. You want to make a point? Yeah.
Anand, you were talking about hammer. I have checked with my sources. So hammer is a different weapon. Yes, Rafale is very much equipped with it. Yeah. But it's a different weapon. The only difference is that it uses rocket propulsion. And there is a possibility that, this weapon was used. But my sources are not confirming it. But they are saying that since we are using Rafale and Rafale is very much equipped with it, so there is a possibility that hammer was also used. The difference is that it also has the guidance system and it has got rocket propulsion where, when we talk about proximity, so with rocket propulsion, your weapon can go with a higher speed and, can precisely hit the target. So there is a possibility of hammer, but when we talk about Spice 2000 and hammer, so these are two different weapons. And, we have got a confirmation on Spice 2000 that it was very much used in this particular mission.
Right. Now we are getting unconfirmed news trickling in on our internal news feeds that there is some crackers that have grown across in Lahore, Walton Road, some sirens have been heard, unconfirmed reports. We'll try and get confirmation on that and what's happened early morning in Lahore, whereas the entire region of Punjab, there has been, the Pak province of Punjab, there has been a communications blackout. Regions on the other side in Pakistan, in Punjab region, were kept in total darkness through the evening, and there are some reports that also suggested that there is some army build-up or Pakistani military build-up in the Lahore area. Now, what's happening? We'll try and get you more details, but meantime, the guns the Pakistani military has been firing at civilian areas right through the night, through the day on the 7th, and also right through the night into 7th and 8th morning, this morning too. Let's take you through some ground reports. Rifat and Komal have been very close to where civilians have come under Pakistan artillery fire.
जब से भारत की तरफ से पाकिस्तान पे अटैक किया गया तब से सरहदों पे तनाव शुरू हो गया है। खासतौर से लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के इर्द गिर्द रहने वाले लोगों में काफ़ी तनाव पाया जा रहा है। मैं इस वक्त उड़ी में हूं और उड़ी लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के साथ वाला इलाका है और आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे बहुत ही कम मूवमेंट उड़ी मार्केट में है और दूसरी तरफ से फायर एंड इमरजेंसी सर्विसेज का अमला पूरी तरह से अलर्ट है। फायर एंड इमरजेंसी सर्विसेज की गाड़ियां यहाँ पे लगी हुई हैं। वजह यह है कि अगर आर पार की शेलिंग फिर से शुरू हो जाती है और अगर कोई शल या अगर कोई गोला किसी घर पे गिरता है, वहां पे आग लग जाती है और आग को फौरन बुझाया जा सके, डैमेज को कम किया जा सके, इसीलिए यहाँ पे फायर एंड इमरजेंसी सर्विसेज को अलर्ट पे रख दिया गया। काफ़ी सारी गाड़ियां जो हैं वो यहाँ पे रख दी गई हैं उड़ी मार्केट में। अगर कोई भी खबर ऐसी आती है कि कहीं पे शेलिंग शुरू हुई, कहीं पे फायरिंग शुरू हुई या किसी घर को नुकसान पहुंचा, घर पे कोई गोला गिरा, तो फौरन ये गाड़ियाँ वहाँ की तरफ रवाना की जाएंगी। ये पूरा आप देख सकते हैं काफ़ी सारा अमला है फायर एंड इमरजेंसी सर्विसेज का। इन्होंने गाड़ियों में पानी भर के रखा है और अगर कहीं से भी कोई कॉल आती है कि कहीं पे किसी घर में आग लग गई या कहीं पे कोई गोला गिरा जिसकी वजह से आग लग गई, तो फौरन इन गाड़ियों को रवाना किया जा सकता है। यानी पूरी तैयारी यहाँ पे की जा रही है। एक तरफ से इंडियन आर्मी अलर्ट है, बीएसएफ अलर्ट है, जितने भी सुरक्षा बल हैं वो अलर्ट है, इवन एयरफोर्स और नेवी भी जगह जगह पे अलर्ट है, लेकिन उसके साथ में हेल्थ सर्विसेज का अमला भी अलर्ट है और फायर एंड इमरजेंसी सर्विसेज का अमला भी अलर्ट है। लेकिन मैं आपको बता दूं कि जब से भारत की तरफ से पाकिस्तान पे अटैक किया गया उसके बाद इंडियन आर्मी और पाकिस्तान आर्मी के दरमियान एक्सचेंज ऑफ फायर हुआ, क्योंकि अटैक के फौरन बाद पाकिस्तानी आर्मी की तरफ से इंडियन आर्मी के बंकर्स पे फायरिंग की गई, सीज फायर वायलेशन हुई और उसके साथ साथ कई ऐसे इलाकों में गोले गिरे जो पाकिस्तान आर्मी की तरफ से फेंके गए, जो जिसकी वजह से कई घरों को नुकसान पहुंचा, कई सिविलियन जो है वो घायल हुए इस इलाके में और उसके बाद तनाव काफी बढ़ गया।
Well, we just got confirmation that there is something that's happened over in Lahore. So people in Pakistan are waking up to three consecutive explosions in the Walton Road area where sirens have gone off. This is what the police and Pak media are reporting. So we don't have the pictures, but there is now confirmation coming through Pakistani media. There are also visuals that are coming through where sirens have been heard on Walton Road, people running out of their houses as they've seen loud clouds of smoke. They've seen clouds of smoke after loud explosion. Siddhant now joining us. Yes, Siddhant.
Well, yes, that's right, Anand. In fact, this is what Pakistani media is reporting, that there has been 3 consecutive explosions heard in Walton Road area of Lahore. Anand. In fact, there could be a smoke also seen coming out of one particular site, and in fact, there's a panic situation there in Walton Road area after 3 explosions which were heard by people. In fact, they all came out running out of their houses, establishments. Perhaps even Pakistani media has very little information about what kind of explosions these were, and they also know very little about it. But
is it 3 or more? We have to confirm, Siddhant, because they say it's a series of loud explosions. ARY News is also reporting this in Pakistan. There are other media platforms that are now confirming. This is in the Gopal Nagar and Nasirabad areas. This is very close to the Walton Airport. This is on Walton Road in Lahore. People running out of their houses in panic and reporting seeing clouds of smoke. So we try and see if we can get access to any pictures, visuals or images. But clearly Pakistan in Lahore waking up to series of explosions. We don't know what further, but there is confirmation in Pakistani media, and the Pak police handles are also saying there is something that's happening and there is movement of security personnel in that region to try and detect. Perhaps we have more when we see you after the break. Stay with us.
Mahi sir.
For the funeral of those who are found in these terror markazes, it's all people in uniform. BSF Rangers, local police, Pak Army, they are all present there along with local politicians and mullahs. Top government sources are pointing at this, Group Captain MJ Vinod and viewers, and saying if military personnel and netas are attending the funeral of jihadis, what bigger proof that all of this is state-backed?
Absolutely. I don't think we have any doubt on that. In fact, I would have even looked at this particular funeral procession as itself as a very big target, because in one probably scalp, we could have taken out all of them. Anyway, be that
Right, so a series of explosions in Lahore. As we welcome you back, we'll try and get you more details what's happened there. But closer home, the government has called for an all-party meeting scheduled for later in the day. Political parties will be briefed about Operation Sindoor, the impact and the targets that have been demolished. They were with precise, strong pummeling, terror infrastructure destroyed, identified, tracked, punished. So the all-party meet. There will be a proper briefing with the evidence that was also displayed to the world in the briefing at the National Media Center on the 7th morning at around 10:30. That's when it happened. But the all-party meeting will be convened. All parties will be brought on board. So far, all political parties across the corridor have backed Bharat's response to avenge Pahalgam, and Operation Sindoor has been hailed for its precision and the success that's been achieved. Clearly, there will be doubts, there will be questions that will be asked, and perhaps that will be addressed. We'll try and go across to Pallavi Ghosh for more details on who will be chairing this all-party meet, who will be leading the briefing on behalf of the government. Will it be the Raksha Mantri? Will it be the Greh Mantri? Is the Pradhan Mantri going to be there? The last time around, the jibes from the Congress party, which were later addressed strongly by the Congress party leadership, came when the Prime Minister was not there at the all-party meeting. Pallavi Ghosh joins us. Pallavi Ghosh, good morning. Who's going to be chairing or leading the all-party meet? Who will be leading the briefing? And what time is it scheduled?
So the meeting is at 11 o'clock. It's in the Parliament Library building. And normally it is chaired by the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. That's because the agenda of this meeting is essentially to update the opposition parties about Operation Sindoor. How was it carried about? How was the impact? What was the impact? More importantly, that India is aware that Pakistan is going to be trying for a retaliation, and how well prepared are we? I think the message from the government is very clear, Anand, that it's going to be nation first. Coordinated effort, political differences have to be forgotten, and every political party is being kept in the loop. There are security concerns, which is why just a handful of people in the government were aware of these operations. But today, now that it's become public, the world knows about it. That's the reason why every political party is going to be on page. I don't think it should be or will be acrimonious, because if you look at the voices which have come in from everyone, that is very clear that in this moment we are standing together, and I think that's going to be the mood inside the all-party meeting at 11 a.m.
Just quickly, there is a lot of disinformation doing the rounds. Is it possible that the government is going to come out with a proper primer and clear the air on certain claims that are being made by the Pakistani establishment, civilian and otherwise?
Absolutely right, Anand. Absolutely, because this is one of the biggest wars which government sources are telling us we are having to fight at this point of time. The rogue, mindless mind games being played by Pakistan. If you notice, constantly there are PIB fact-check units which are activated in there. They are go out with a version, official version. There are guidelines for the social media, and likewise, political parties are also going to be.
Right. Right. We've lost the line with Pallavi Ghosh, but 11 a.m. is where the all-party meeting is, and the briefing will be there, and usually it's chaired by the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. With the PMB present, we'll have to wait and watch. Meanwhile, there are other updates coming through. It's continuous coverage. We'll see you after the break. Stay with us. Brazen lies. Siddhant Mishra is with us. Siddhant Mishra, has Bharat ever claimed officially that 3 planes have been downed?
No, Anand. As we were discussing before also, these motor-mouth ministers have no other work. They don't know what is going to be the next move of Rawalpindi, perhaps what is going on in Asim Munir's mind. All they are left with is to go to media and make irresponsible statements, perhaps so that, tension can escalate between the two countries. All they are left out is with the handouts that they get from Rawalpindi, and they are told to follow that script word by word. And this Khwaja Asifs and Ishaq Dars of the world are doing the same from last 3 weeks, Anand, since the Pahalgam terror attack. And in fact, in the same series, this fresh irresponsible statement from Khwaja Asif has come, where he is claiming that Indian jets have been shot down. And in fact, in the same interview, he was trolled by this TV journalist when she asked that where is the evidence. So he said that it's all over social media.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and thank you for staying with us here at CNN News 18 as we are continuously live and rolling coverage of Operation Sindoor and thereafter. What happens next? Is India ready for a response from Pakistan? What is happening over in Pakistan? Plenty of news and updates to share with our viewers. Let's take you through the top headlines at 9 a.m. this Thursday morning. First up, civilians are killed. 13 civilians have been killed as Pakistan shells Jammu and Kashmir's Punch region. Gurdwaras, schools have been hit, and also other religious institutions. Second, the Indian Army has destroyed multiple Pak military posts along the line of control in strong, robust retaliation. Thirdly, sources are saying that frontline fighters were used in Operation Sindoor while strikes were conducted without crossing the line of control. Distant targets were engaged by the Indian Air Force. Others were hit by the Indian Army. The centre has called for an all-party meeting after Operation Sindoor, and it is scheduled at about 11 a.m. this Thursday. Loud explosion sirens have also been heard. Series of loud explosions and then sirens going off in Lahore on the Walton Road area, very close to the Walton Airport. Then Pak Defence Minister has been confronted on the 5 Indian jets shot down claim. He says he saw the reports on social media, and he did this while speaking with CNN. After Pakistan, Iran's foreign minister has now begun his visit to Bharat. It's his first bilateral visit or visit to Delhi. There'll be a series of engagements through the day where India and Iran are going to co-chair a meeting too. India has the right to defend itself. That's what UK MP Preeti Patel has said. She's the shadow foreign minister. Donald Trump has offered to end India-Pakistan tensions. How he proposes to do that, we have to wait and watch. He's also said there's going to be an announcement of a trade deal with a very big and important country very soon. As we continue the live and rolling coverage, Bharat's counterstrike on Pakistan just 2 weeks after the Pahalgam massacre has been telling. Bharat has struck and struck hard, identified, tracked, punished, precise, focus and retributive. Operation Sindoor sending a clear message to Pakistan after the brutal murder of 26 innocent civilians in Pahalgam. A nation of over 1 billion demanding justice, retribution, and Bharat responding in tough and far greater measure and expansion than ever seen before. 21 precision missiles at 9 terror locations, reducing the headquarters of the jaish-e-mohammed in Bawalpur and lashkar-e-taiba and Muridke to rubble. Even Jaish chief Masood Azhar's family, core members of the terror infrastructure, have been hit and neutralized in these strikes. 2 commanders of the Lashkar have also been neutralized. As Pakistan contemplates a retaliation, Bharat standing ready, firm in its resolve and in its doctrine of strength, proving yet again that those who shed Indian blood, blood of innocents, will pay the price. On the other hand, Pakistan, rattled with India's counter to terrorism, continued warmongering, while Pakistan Defence Minister Khwaja Asif, when confronted by CNN on his fake claims of shooting down 5 Indian jets, said it's all over social media. He's also made another false claim that India has confirmed the downing of 3 aircraft. In the same interview, in the same conversation, 5 to 3, they have no clue what they are saying. The bigger question is the civilian government of Pakistan absolutely clueless and being kept in the dark by the military establishment?
साथियों, जैसे कि आप सबको जानकारी है कि कल रात हमारी भारतीय सेनाओं ने अपने अद्भुत शौर्य और पराक्रम का परिचय देते हुए एक नया इतिहास रच दिया है। हमारी सेनाओं ने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर लॉन्च करके पहले की तरह ही इस बार भी आतंकियों को ट्रेनिंग देने वाले कैंप्स को तबाह करके करारा जवाब दिया है। भारत ने अपनी सरजमी पर हुए हमले का जवाब देने के लिए अपने राइट टू रेस्पॉन्ड का इस्तेमाल किया है और हमारी यह कार्रवाई बेहद सोच समझकर सधे हुए तरीके से की गई है। आतंकियों के हौसले पस्त करने के उद्देश्य से यह कार्रवाई महज उनके कैंप्स और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तक ही सीमित रखी गई है। मैं पुनः हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के शौर्य को मैं नमन करता हूं।
Can you provide more detail? And is this the response that your army spokesman threatened, or is there further action to come? Let's start with this very specific allegation of 5 fighter jets shot down. Where's the evidence for that, sir?
It's all over the social media, on Indian social media, not on our social media. The debris of these jets fell into Indian occupied Kashmir, and it's all over Indian media today.
You're the defense
and they
minister.
have admitted their media has.
The reason to talk to you today, sir, is not to talk about content all over social media. I'm sorry. It's not to talk about content all over social media. I'm asking you very specifically for the evidence, for the detail. For example, was any Chinese equipment used by Pakistan to down these Rafale jets, as I understand you are alleging them to be?
There are no Chinese equipment. We have Chinese planes, JF-17 and JF-10. They are Chinese planes, but they are being manufactured, assembled in Pakistan now. We have very close to Islamabad, we have a facility over there where these planes are manufactured. And if India can buy planes from France and use them, we can also buy planes from China or Russia or United States or UK and use them. And let me say one thing. They have already admitted that the 3 planes were down.
Where has Bharat admitted? So clearly the Pakistan elected representatives or those in government making a mockery of themselves across the whole world. But here's more news. How did this happen? Pakistan was, post-Pahalgam, was on red alert. For nearly 12 days, their forces were trying to keep vigil and they were on red alert. How did then Bharat actually effect Operation Sindoor? This caught the Pakistanis off guard. Now, Bharat's specific diversions stumped Pakistan. This was the smokescreen. All these events and the Prime Minister going about and making himself available all of these places is how the Pakistanis perhaps were caught unawares. This includes the Wave Summit in Mumbai. It was not cancelled. The port launch, the deep port launch in that's the Vizhinjam port in Thiruvananthapuram. The announcement of the mock drill and several more other measures that perhaps got the Pakistani establishment off guard, caught them off guard, despite them trying to say that they were on red alert and they were ready for any action that was going to be mounted by Bharat. Siddhant now joins us with more. Siddhant, there are so many other aspects too. Were they made to look some other way while this happened?
Well, Anand, the lesson learned in deception. In fact, there have been series of such measures taken by Indian government. In fact, here at the ministry level also, Anand, things were very regular, very routine. Ministry of External Affairs was sending out invites for lunches and dinners to foreign dignitaries and journalists. In fact, they all were preparing for Prime Minister's visit. In fact, the team from Ministry of External Affairs was in Croatia, Norway, and Netherlands for ASL. So, the message which was being sent to journalists and other foreign dignitaries was that everything is very regular and routine. Having said that, Anand, there was a mock drill which was announced. Then, if you remember, there was also this story that India has cut off water inflows to Pakistan in Chenab, and the plan is to do the same on Kishan Ganga project. Perhaps again a diversionary tactic put in place by the Indian side. Then India-UK FTA. Perhaps, Anand, this was pending from last 4 years, and suddenly we got to know that there's going to be an announcement about two sides, locking the deal. And it was announced, and Prime Minister Modi spoke to UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. So it was this particular decision was a statement, but at the same time, it was a deception, by the Indian side, perhaps, so that Pakistan could not guess our next move, because they were on alert mode from last 12 days, as you rightly said, right. And they were waiting, and they knew that we are going to hit them even more harder. So here at the ministry level, at the government level, in fact, as you rightly said, Prime Minister made himself available for all these events, from Wave Summit to port launch in Thiruvananthapuram. In fact, that evening also Prime Minister was at a media summit. So again, it's an art of deception which Prime Minister Modi and his government knows, and they know this game very well. In fact, last time around also they fooled Pakistan, and this time around again they kept everything under the wraps, and they made everything look so regular and so routine for journalists, foreign dignitaries, and the other people here in the national capital.
But how did that catch the Pakistanis off guard, or have the Pakistanis been caught unawares? Because this time around, the last time with Balakot, we entered the Pakistani airspace. We went across the line of control, घुस के मारा. इस बार बिना घुसे ही मार दिया. So that also perhaps did it catch them, the kind of weapon systems that were placed, that were pressed into service. And the other thing is, did the Pakistanis never think that we are going to get across the IB and get into Punjab? 30 kilometers from Lahore, Muridke being targeted. Bawalpur, south of the Pak Punjab province, very close to Sindh region, that was also targeted.
Well, yes, that's right, Anand. In fact, they were also signaling, if you remember, Prime Minister Modi, when met Omar Abdullah, they both were wearing blue jackets. Perhaps then, many on social media started writing that, this time around India could use its navy to do action. Yes, you are right. This time around, we did not even enter their territory. We used long-range standoff systems, perhaps to hit the targets. So, Pakistan knew that India will hit them harder this time around. Perhaps, they were also on alert mode. But the kind of deception that India has managed to create, and, the way India managed to confuse Pakistan. NOTAM was announced in Rajasthan. So again, that particular sector was activated by announcing NOTAM. Mock drill was announced. There were Navy exercises also in the Arabian Sea. In fact, we spoke about that the other day.
Yeah,
so,
only 85 nautical miles from where the Pakistanis were doing their exercise. So everybody thought that Navy mein wahan se pani se kuch karne wale hain. Yeah. So kept them guessing all around. Siddhant, but one aspect is not a deception or a diversion. That is the tap-on, tap-off methodology as per the IWT, Indus Water Treaty, being kept in abeyance. Tejinder Sodhi's just got us some pictures. We'll try and put it out for our viewers in a bit, where very clearly the Salal Dam, they're still not allowing too much of water to go. And the other day, they just suddenly released, or say the authorities suddenly just released 28,000 cusecs of water. The ceasefire violations, is there a plan to diplomatically raise the ceasefire violations? Siddhant, quickly want to ask you this before we go across to our guest joining us this morning. Is there going to be a clear effort to paint and demarcate who the victim is and who the villain is? Is this narrative कि ये जो दहशतगर्दी है इसके पीछे पाकी वर्दी है, is this going to be sold to the world by the Indian diplomatic machinery?
Well, yes, absolutely, Anand. In fact, yesterday, Vikram Misri in his briefing did raise issue of civilians being killed in Poonch and how Pakistan is continuously shelling on the Poonch sector of Jammu and Kashmir. This particular point was raised. And also, Anand, there are some countries which don't have their missions in the national capital. So the envoys, Indian envoys in those countries have been told to go to their foreign offices to brief them about this overall situation and how after Operation Sindoor, Pakistani military is perhaps shelling in the Poonch sector and killing civilians. In fact, Indian envoy to United Nations will also be briefing many countries there. So, again, as we were discussing before, Anand, that, India is keeping things very transparent, and India also wants to send this message out that India's strikes were measured, responsible, but what Pakistan is doing is perhaps killing civilians, and that is also being done by Pakistani military. So this is a very clear message which India wants to convey to the world, and in fact here at the national capital and at different other capitals across the world, the efforts are being made to convey to various governments about this action of Pakistan.
Well, thank you for that. Innocent Sikhs, innocent Muslims, innocent Hindus have, most importantly, Hindustanis have lost their lives because of the kind of activity that has been perpetrated by the Pakistani military, uncalled for shelling, and that too into civilian areas deep in Poonch, where never before have the guns been trained. And we've lost Panthis. preachers. We've lost former servicemen, 20 years of service in the armed forces, and Gurjan Singh ji, Amarjit Singh's uncle, tells us that it is Pakistani artillery shelling while he was sleeping in his home that's claimed his life. Now, this is brutal, this is uncalled for, and this exposes who the real villain is. Let's go across to our guest. Major Manik Jolly is with us, defense expert. Lieutenant General Hari Mohan Iyer, former Chief of Staff, Northern Command, Indian Army, is with us. And we should also have Abhishek Matimanji, the former spokesperson, Ministry of Defense, Wing Commander Abhishek Matiman. My namaste, Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you for your time. General Hari Mohan Iyer, who's the villain here? Who's the victim? Is there any doubts about it anymore? And when you have Defense Minister of a nation making false claims, quoting social media, is it so difficult to discredit such an entity?
Thank you, Anand, for getting me on the show. Firstly, I must compliment Siddhant for his fantastic analysis. Couldn't have been better. And I will start my discourse by, pointing out to why we are where we are today. This issue which the Pakistan government and its ministry is tom-tomming about India losing 3 jets or 5 jets, etc. And I blame it squarely on some irresponsible journalists, reporters, certain media houses, which I believe are vested interests, who went about publishing certain amount of, posts and data and reports. I will not name the media house, but you know who I'm hinting at.
No, but you can clearly name the media houses who have not done all of that.
I
clearly
know,
CNN, News 18 Network is one of them.
I know.
Who put out only authentic, verified information.
I know. I'm not. That's why I'm saying we all know which was the media house which did this. And that is what is giving Pakistan, the much needed energy to get a way out of this. When you strangle somebody and you, put him to a corner, he is grasping for something that comes his way. And unfortunately, some possibly I'll call them irresponsible journalists, because they did not investigate as to what debris was lying there and what was the reason for that debris. People must understand that whenever there is a cross-border incursion, there will be debris around. It could be based on certain amount of unexploded ammunition. It could be on some ammunition which possibly didn't reach where it was supposed to reach. It could be certain amount of drop tanks, etc., which Air Force discards when it is doing, steep maneuvers. So people who are on the ground, that's why I started by saying I compliment Siddhant for the way he analyzed it. I wish the Indian journalists who are in the other agencies are also a little more, serious in their analysis before they put out these kind of reports. Now, coming on to who's the villain. Worldwide, I must say, when you look at the dying syndrome, it is India which is winning almost everywhere, except for the word I. We unfortunately haven't been able to put out the kind of information which Pakistan has been able to do in the last 24 hours. And I hope people in the South Bloc and the government, and with responsible media houses like yourself, take it to this honors to cut down Pakistan's gains in the I domain. They should not get away with, misinformation and claim that the success of this wonderful mission. I must say, for last 24 hours, a person like me who spent 39 years in service, I haven't seen this kind of meticulous planning and execution the way we executed Operation Sindoor. It is absolutely super operation, which has been tremendously, backed up by large amount of deception and I will call it multiple actions at various levels in all government strata, whether it was the diplomatic, whether it was local government, trade, economy. We pushed Pakistan to believing nothing is coming, and we are incapable of, responding in this nature. He was possibly never expecting us to hit Bawalpur or Muridke. These were, there were talks about it as way back as 2016 when Uri happened, and it was given up that it is too deep and it has too far repercussions. So hitting these kind of targets with precision at the time of our choosing is something that Pakistan was not expecting. So
no,
I guess
No, that is also because now the whole aspect of using the Air Force, pressing the Air Force into action, at some times it was thought that it is going to be a liability. That entire posture has shifted, that entire mindset has shifted. The Air Force is also far more able and so much more equipped. We have the best pilots, and now they also have some of the best aircraft laced with some of the best weapon systems, which allows what has been executed as Siddhant was detailing. Abhishek ji, your thoughts, Wing Commander?
Absolutely, absolutely. The gone are the days. I remember how we reacted last time when we did actually at Balakot. It was a few years back then, but that time when the Pakistan Air Force immediately retorted back with Operation Swift Retort, we could see clearly, and it was brought to light the limitations in terms of the range of weapons that we had vis-a-vis the Pakistani Air Force. This time, however, we have, in terms of air power, we have a clear-cut edge, whether it be in terms of technology, the ranges of the air-to-air combat missiles that we carry, or the standoff weapons for that matter, which have far greater ranges. And consequently, the kind of operations and the number of targets which we have been able to address simultaneously as we did the previous night, means nine targets and 24 hits, around 24 hits in one go. It's not a mean feat by any stretch of imagination, and clearly indicates that for that particular time being, if the combat aircraft are the ones who were doing the work, means we had a kind of a favorable air situation going our way with their air defenses pinned down to facilitate our moves as we thought to carry them out.
Gentlemen, please, I want to direct your attention, and also viewers' attention to what Pakistanis are resorting to along the line of control. What you're seeing on screens right now, this is fresh visuals that have just come out. Can we go full screen to it? From Uri. Look at the devastation that's been wrought here. Homes have been destroyed. Innocents are being pummeled. And we've lost a lot of lives, 13 to 15 lives, some of them critical, at least 40, 45 of them have been injured. There were 12 lives that were lost even in Punch. We spoke to Surjan Singh Ji. Surjan Singh Ji's son is injured. His nephew, Amarjeet Singh, after serving 20 years for the Indian Armed Forces, was doing seva there and he was living there. And he died because of mortar shelling and artillery gun firing by the Pakistanis, and this happened yesterday. As we stay with these visuals, I would like viewers and also our guests to listen to what Surjan Singh Ji wants and what he is saying. सुरजन सिंह जी, कल क्या हुआ था, आप जरा बता सकेंगे हमारे दर्शकों को?
सर, कल यहाँ पर परसों रात को जब 2 बजे के बाद फायरिंग शेलिंग स्टार्ट हुई यहाँ पर पुंछ में, तो एक पैनिक जैसी मच गई, क्योंकि एक बहुत सिविलिंग एरिया में ये बमबारी की गई। वहाँ जितने भी गोला जो बम गिरे वो सिविलिंग एरिया में गिरे। इससे पहले कभी नहीं हुआ, क्योंकि 47 की भी हमने देखी, 65 की भी देखी, 71 की, करगिल की भी देखी, उसके बाद हमारी किरनी बॉर्डर की देखी, तो ये इतना नहीं था। वो बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये बनी कि यहाँ पर तमाम सिविलिंग के घर पर पाकिस्तान ने गोले गिराए। मेरा बेटा था अमरजीत सिंह, जो मेरा भतीजा है, वो बड़ा भतीजा मेरे बड़े भाई का, वो फौज की नौकरी करके है 22 साल
जी। उसने
वहां नहीं शहीदी दी, पर यहाँ पर उसने शहीदी दी। वो भी हमको बचा रहा था, अब सभी बच्चों को ऐसे करो ऐसे करो ऐसे, ड्रिलिंग मार के था तो बता रहा था। पर अचानक जब हम सोए हुए थे घर में, मैं अपने बेडरूम में सोया, उसी बेडरूम पर जब बम गिरा कर, तो वहां पर मैं भी सोया था, मेरा बेटा भी सोया था। तो जो स्प्लेंडर था उसको पार थोड़ा सा दूर 10 फुट वो खड़ा था, उसको लग गया, जो डायरेक्ट उसको मैं चेस्ट में हिट कर गया स्प्लेंडर। उसके बाद हमने ऑपरेशन वगैरह करवाया तो उसको नहीं, और सर्वाइव नहीं कर सका। पर हम फक्र करते हैं, हमारा फौजी बेटा था, फौज में उसने बहुत अच्छी नौकरी की, यहाँ पर शहीदी भी थी। और एक बात मैं आपके माध्यम से मीडिया से बात करना चाहता हूँ कि हम 47 से यही देख रहे हैं कि जब भी दोनों मुल्क में ऐसी बातें होती हैं, लड़ाई आती है या जंग चलती है, तो ये सिविलियन जो पीछे जाते हैं। तो मैं भारत की सरकार से निवेदन करता हूँ, बेनती करता हूँ कि आप ऐसा करें कि ये एक किस्सा ही खत्म करें ताकि आने वाले वक्त में सभी लोग हम अच्छे रहें, अच्छी तरीके से जिंदगी में बसर करें। पाक से हम यहाँ पर आए तो यहाँ पर भी प्रॉब्लम बन गई है। तो कल यही हुआ कि 7:45 बजे यहाँ पर जो बम गिरा, उसके बाद फिर पैनिक फैल गई, परिवार सारा, बच्चे भी, मुझे भी थोड़ी, मेरे बच्चे को भी लगी, और बेटा जो था मेरे अमरजीत सिंह, जो मेरा भतीजा था, मेरे भाई का लड़का था, उसको वो 2 घंटे के बाद उसकी डेथ हो गई थी।
20 years Amarjeet Singh served in the armed forces, and Surjan Singh ji say, their General Iyer saying, तब उसे कुछ नहीं हुआ देश की रक्षा करते वक्त, एंड अब ये देखो पाकिस्तानियों ने क्या किया है. How do we bring the Pakistanis to account here? Is it unfair to ask for 1 kilometer of their territory, their acreage, for every bullet that takes a civilian's life here?
Anand, first, when you look at, there are 2 places on the line of control which unfortunately are on the receiving end whenever this kind of exchanges happen. One is Poonch and other is Uri. So you see, 1948, when we stopped the Indian advance towards Muzaffarabad and towards the west of Poonch, we possibly stopped at a stage when we are at a huge amount of disadvantage. So today Pakistan occupies all those features which have a look inside both Uri and Poonch. So whenever he wants, he can escalate it into the civilian territories. In 1965, we had captured the very strategic Hajipir Pass, which possibly would have given us some degree of dominance over his areas across. Unfortunately, whatever happened after the Tashkent agreement, and we had decided to give up those lands which we captured, we continue to hold this disadvantage, particularly in these 2 areas of line of control. When you take away these 2 areas, rest everywhere in the line of control, we are on the advantageous side. So what we must now do is, like you say, we have to put a cost. I am sure Northern Command is working on it. The person who's heading Northern Command has commanded his division in this area, and he knows the implications of what happens in Poonch. I am sure we respond in due course. Yesterday I was seeing on the social media one of the videos which came about of the Pakistanis. I am a gunner. Okay. So every time when you fire the gun, the sight, gets displaced a little. So when you fire the second round, you generally relay the sight. But the Pakistani gunner says, koi fark nahi penda, bas thoke jao. So he was firing andhadhund, and this was medium guns being fired somewhere from Kotli or other side, and they must be the ones which are landing at various places in Poonch town. That is why you found these rounds spreading across the Poonch town, which shows very bit of unprofessionalism of the Pakistan army, their lack of value for lives, especially civilian lives. And I feel that this was a very deliberate attempt to try and take the battle into the civilian areas, and it will be responded. I am very sure our own artillery and Northern Command is abreast with it, and they will get a nice little sock on their face in the days to come. And I won't be surprised if they put up the white flags asking us to stop firing the artillery, because we have tremendous amount of superiority as far as artillery is concerned in these areas. It's only that we have kept restraint so far, and I'm sure we will respond in due time, in the due manner.
No, not just to make them silent and raise up the white flag. We need to push them forward. The places that were ceded in the past need to be taken back, and perhaps some more in the present, so that in the future they don't try and have the courage to do something like they have done now. That's where the request is with our forces and with the government, that this time it's whole of government and there's no backing off. There's no taking the foot off the pedal in trying to teach the villains a lesson. So there are multiple aspects to this entire coverage of Operation Sindoor. General Iyer, Wing Commander Abhishek, I'd request you to please stay with us. We're going to take a very short break here at this point. Stay with us, viewers.
Alliance.
brazen lies. Siddhant Mishra is with us. Siddhant Mishra, has Bharat ever claimed officially that 3 planes have been downed?
No, Anand. As we were discussing before also, these motor-mouth ministers have no other work. They don't know what is going to be the next move of Rawalpindi, perhaps what is going on in Asim Munir's mind. All they are left with is to go to media and make irresponsible statements, perhaps so that, tension can escalate between the two countries. All they are left out is with the handouts that they get from Rawalpindi, and they are told to follow that script word by word. And this Khwaja Asifs and Ishaq Dars of the world are doing the same from last 3 weeks, Anand, since the Pahalgam terror attack. And in fact, in the same series, this fresh irresponsible statement from Khwaja Asif has come, where he is claiming that Indian jets have been shot down. And in fact, in the same interview, he was trolled by this TV journalist when she asked that where is the evidence. So he said that it's all over social media. Perhaps a sitting defense minister making such an irresponsible statement, reflects upon the character of the country. But also the fact, Anand, is that, before Pahalgam terror attack, even we were not aware of somebody called Khwaja Asif, who happens to be the defense minister of Pakistan. Because he doesn't call the shots. He doesn't know what's going to be the next move. He has a very little information. All he's left with is handout, and his work is to go to the media and read those handouts.
Right. Ishan Wani is also with us at this point. Ishan, a lot of false claims that are being made. Is there a clear effort to try and sift out the disinformation?
Well, absolutely. There's a lot of disinformation. Not the first and possibly not the last to have disinformation campaign when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir. Anand, prior to this particular incident, the army always used to say that Pakistan has a large, disinformation campaign in regard to Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of India. They have been running. Now, over the years, the army also tried to ensure that they are able to decode and try to hit back to the disinformation campaign that the Pakistan and Pakistan government and the Pakistani establishment had launched in regard to Jammu.
Thank you for staying with us. Pakistan continues to pummel civilian establishments, and it is claiming civilian lives. More Hindustani lives are falling to the Pakistani guns. Is the government watching this? What will be the whole of government response? Is it going to pause after Operation Sindoor, or was Operation Sindoor just the beginning of a comprehensive war on terror that will end at defanging the military establishment in Pakistan? That is the actual fountainhead of this entire proxy war unleashed on Bharat. How many more cuts before we get retribution and we end this entire terror hydra is defanged? General Iyer with us, Wing Commander Matiman with us, but first going across to Ishan Wani, who is joining us from Uri. These are pictures from Uri. People who have lost their homes, civilian homes that have been destroyed, people who have lost their loved ones, their life savings gone down the drain because to the Pakistani artillery and the Pakistani guns. Yes, Ishan, where are you?
Well, we're in the Uri market, and you will see that it's almost deserted. The hustling and bustling market in Uri presents a deserted look. What we have been given to understand by locals as well as our sources, that people have left. Some people have already left this place, and they are moving out of Uri town and all those places where shelling has been there from the Pakistan side. This is a place which will be bustling right now with people going about their normal lives. You will also see that the fire and emergency service have dispatched at least 5 of these fire tenders, because Pakistan shelling has caused a lot of fire in the residential houses which are located in Uri, and that is why there's a state of preparedness from the forces, from the fire service, from every department to ensure that the fire does not engulf the whole of villages and places in Uri. That if in case there is any shelling that takes place during the daytime, even they are able to basically contain that fire and they are able to bring the situation to normal. They have been sent from Srinagar, Sopore and other areas, 5 of them in a state of readiness here. But Bashir Loan will show you the market. Only a handful of people are walking in the market in the early morning, and if there's a heavy artillery shelling, and sometimes they also land in the market area. Let me give give you an understanding that, behind these mountains where Bashir will show you is the line of control. And after that, you have the forces stationed at every place. But what we have been also told is that there hasn't been much of a, shelling that has taken place last night. But before that, there was an intense shelling. People got scared. People who had avenues have left. But other people are still trying to leave this place because they feel that in the coming days it could get intense, and that's why many residential areas have been vacated and people have left Uri. This was a bustling place, but now it presents almost a deserted look with less people on the ground because of the houses being damaged. Some 2 kilometers from here you have Salamabad, where maximum number of shells landed on the civilian population. 10 civilians were injured, 21 structures damaged, vehicles damaged, and much of the damage is directly being done on the civilian infrastructure. And to deal with it, vehicles have been kept, hospitals are running on an alert, and even in Uri, and these vehicles are here stationed to ensure that if in case there is any fire, you will see these are the men from the fire and emergency service ready at a call to dispatch their teams from here to any place on the line of control to deal with the situation and to ensure the safety of civilians remains paramount for the administration as well as the government.
Well, thank you for your inputs, Ishan. Akash is also with us. Akash, what are government sources saying? What is the response to this kind of unbridled shelling by the Pakistani military? Their guns trained on civilian establishments. In Punch, Gurdwara, mosques, Gita Bhavan, schools are being targeted, homes are being targeted. Never before has this happened, and Pakistan has resorted to this kind of unbridled shelling. Akash, are you there? Okay, you're on mute. Can't hear you. Right, we'll try and go across to Akash in just a bit. We'll try and connect with him. Let's go back to our guest. General Iyer is with us. Wing Commander Matiman is with us. We'll also see if Major Manik Jolly joins us. Wing Commander Abhishek Matiman, what can be done at multiple levels? One is to try and ensure that the world understands who the villain is and who the victim is. Operation Sindoor is retribution for Pahalgam massacre. The world cannot be allowed to forget Pahalgam. World cannot be afford to not see what is happening in Punch, in Mendhar, in Kupwara, in Uri, in Salamabad.
You're absolutely right. While on the diplomatic front, our officials are at it 24/7 since the last couple of weeks. In fact, everyone sees the tacit support of most of the nations for our forces, and the way and professionalism with which, having briefed all these countries individually on our exact line of action, the proposed line of action, and thereafter pinpointedly targeting terror hideouts and terror infrastructure, makes it very clear as to what our actual intentions are. See, armies and ground forces largely across the world, they've been fighting over values, ethos, and traditions. That is what keeps their motivation going. When a country like Pakistan, who has historically wars through proxies and hired mercenaries who are absolutely disposables for them, this is the kind of front they put up when they are not able to match the army or the armed forces that they face eye to eye. This is what they resort to. And it's not a hidden fact. It's a well-known and well-documented thing, repeated over and over again over the years. That's how Pakistan fights its wars.
But somewhere there has to be some recalibration and somewhere some understanding as to why is it that the international media is not highlighting the fact that the Pakistan military, Pakistan politicians, Pakistani rangers, all of them, jihadiyon ke janaze pe, they were all standing yesterday. Sab ek tent mein, and they were standing in uniform. Why is it that the international media is not questioning this? Why is it that Bharat is not highlighting the fact that nobody in the international media has even acknowledged Masood Azhar accepting that 10 of his family members were there at the Markaz? And they were all part of the training camp. They're all jaish. They're proscribed organization. Why is it that this is not happening? Why is it that Is there something wrong with the way we are pushing out the information, or is it because there is a colored vision of this entire issue itself within the global perspective, General Iyer?
It's a bit of both, Anand. There is a colored vision because, whenever a country is growing and the way we are leapfrogging major economies in the world, we become a threat to those countries. Like recently, we overtook Japan to become the fourth largest economy in the world. So when you are, in the lower reaches like where Pakistan is, they don't worry about those kind of countries. But when a country makes progress like India, and we are now in the, in the top of the world order, then these countries have their own, access to grind. So to some extent, they don't want India to progress the way it is, and this is part of the campaign. So they will try to say that India is not the safe place. They will try and show that India doesn't grow. It is all part of a larger info campaign which the world order is pushing across. And the second part, like you yourself said, I believe, and even I mentioned it in the beginning, that while on the diplomatic forum or the military forum or on the economic forum we have done adequately, we are a little lacking as far as the info domain is concerned. And I'm not talking about the media. Here it is the government machinery which has to come forward. We have to open up our PIBs and daily briefings where these kind of things needs to be highlighted to the international media. There have to be large amount of press briefings and press conferences where issues like civilian damages in those areas and human rights violation. I take any attack on civilian places which are far away from your forward lines as a human right violation. For targeting Poonch city has got no value.
They landed an artillery shell right at the doorstep of the UN field station. How is it that the UN is not alarmed and the UN has not turned around the Pakistanis to say you dare not do that?
Because they don't value that, because the UN sitting in Pakistan gets all the goodies from Pakistan. Unfortunately, the very fact that the UNSC, and I was a little aghast when the UNSC agreed on two things. Firstly, to remove the word TRF from its statement. It was not done. And I guess we did not play it up as diplomatically as we should have. Possibly we played it easy at that time. And the second was, how the hell can a UNSC agree to a closed door meeting when one of the person who's asking for it is the aggressor?
Correct.
So, not that everything is fair in the diplomatic
Now that
order.
you mention it, the first time TRF and the whole game, the hypocrisy and the U-turn that the Pakistani establishment did, the TRF did, was highlighted only by the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri during the briefing yesterday. Till then, the government had not openly come out and called this bluff and said, they are acting at the behest, at your behest. You claim TRF is not involved, then TRF retracts its statement. Is it not directly linked? What more evidence do you want? This is not even circumstantial. This is existential. This is exactly what is happening. This is something which, why is this not happening? And Major Manik Jolly, how is the villain trying to claim to play victim here in this case? How is this Jawabi Karwai? Good morning. How is this Jawabi Karwai? Jawabi Karwai or corresponding action is Bharat has hit terror infrastructure. You hit a terror infrastructure. You don't have a terror infrastructure, you're hitting a Gita Bhavan, you're hitting a Gurdwara. What proof do they have that this is a terror infrastructure? The Garanthis there, are they terrorists? Is that what Pakistan is telling the world?
Hi, good morning, Anand. See, to clarify why we are so bad in maintaining international narratives is because we actually never worked on it. Pakistan has been on it for a very long time. This is eye-opening for us because a crisis came up. But the thing is, as far as the PR and media management is concerned, Pakistan, through its US connectivity, its power in the diplomatic circles in Washington and all that, they have managed it very well. And exactly, I'll just reiterate what you said. For a Pakistani minister to stand in parliament and say, I would want to congratulate everyone that we have managed to get TRF name out of the UN. It is what more proof do you want that they are actually working hard to make sure the TRF name is removed from the statement. So yes, that's a very legit proof, but our information warfare game is lacking badly. For many years, we were managing international media as somebody who do not want to touch or bother or anything. And they were, even if they were being contacted, that was typically the Taman Ki Asha gang, where everybody's a friend and we come from the same roots and all that. Now we have not been able to communicate them because the West doesn't like us, or just to be very honest, they don't like our progress. So we will have to put in extra effort to manage this because, like you, I read international media. We spoke to a lot of friends.
Ji.
The description everywhere is that India has attacked civilians and they shot down our planes and we are attacking them. The terror attack is missing everywhere. So we have to put up our game and start. It doesn't mean if we start contacting them, we go aggressive, we start talking to influencers or media channels, put in effort, time, money, professionals, and get this done. We cannot be a country that tomorrow I travel outside and somebody says, are you from India, who attacked Pakistan unnecessarily? So these are very critical issues, and opinions shape decisions. This is not just a random voice in the air. So the image that we have, the credibility that we carry as the country, it's getting impacted. And for us to justify our actions, for retribution, we used that word yesterday, right? To avenge what they did to us. It is very important that our image is protected, that we are the rightful owners of our revenge and we deserve it. What we are doing, we did all right.
I think somewhere you make a strong point. Pahalgam avenged. Never forget Pahalgam. Pahalgam massacre. These are things, these are lines, these are words can never escape the official communication. It cannot be Operation Sindoor. It has to be Pahalgam massacre, Operation Sindoor, terror infrastructure. 6 keywords or 3 phrases, 3 idioms which have to go across the word. And the 4th one is villain Pakistan.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
This has to be absolute clarity. Wing Commander Matiman, agree, disagree? Pahalgam massacre, Operation Sindoor, villain Pakistan, terror infrastructure.
Absolutely. While Pakistanis and the DGISPR, the entire setup has been at it since decades. As long as I can remember, as far back as I take myself back, they have been at it. And whereas in our setup in the armed forces, whether it be the ADGPI or the IAF or the armed forces per se, or the other Ministry of Information and Broadcasting for that matter, we have never been proactive, and that is the particular reason that we lag in any kind of creating and thereafter propagating the narratives or the real story. In our case, mostly it's the real story which gets subdued in front of the sheer volume of narratives which come out of Pakistan or any other in our neighborhood. See for China, for that matter. The way their mouthpieces keep uttering sheer non-realities. But I guess in the last few years, we have been trying to make up on that front. More so, practically also on the ground, we have been seeing that our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, has been going around in circles and talking straight. For once, we have been seen. It's not as if the world doesn't know who is fighting a righteous war and who's on the right path. But for the general populace, the general understanding, which goes by reading newspapers and media articles and seeing what is available on the net, the perception starts from there, and that is how it is formed. We have to take the narrative war and the perception into our hands. Perception management, it's a very, very important tool of modern warfare. Perception management and thereafter psychological operations. These are interdependent and a very important tool of war. We are working at it, but it's still work underway.
It has to be effective, it has to be precise, and it has to be coded into the minds of those who tend to get corrupted very easily by a false narrative by the villain. Just taking you through some ground reports that have come from Uri, Islamabad and Punch.
भारत की तरफ से किए गए हमले के बाद पाकिस्तानी आर्मी ने इंडियन आर्मी पोस्ट्स पर फायरिंग की, आर्टिलरी फायर किया और उसके साथ साथ सिविलियन एरियाज में भी गोले गिरे। और आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पर 2 मकान बिल्कुल तबाह हो चुके हैं। ये सलामाबाद का एरिया है, उड़ी का एरिया, बिल्कुल लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल जो है ये आप देख सकते हैं। ये जो माउंटेन है ये लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल है और वहाँ जो पाकिस्तानी आर्मी के पोस्ट हैं वहां पर सीज फायर वायलेशन की गई, अंधाधुंध जो है गोले बरसाए गए और उसकी जद में ये 2 मकान आ गए और रात के दौरान ये फायरिंग की गई और ये मकान पूरी तरह से तबाह हो गए। अभी भी यहाँ पर आग जल रही है, तो ये मैं पूरा दिखाने की कोशिश करूंगा इस पूरे एरिया को। और ये आप देख सकते हैं कि ये किचन है और किचन के अंदर जिस तरीके का सामान पड़ा है आप देख सकते हैं। पूरा लोग जो हैं वो बिल्कुल अपने घरों में थे और जो ही फायरिंग की आवाज सुनाई दी उसके बाद लोग घरों से बाहर आए और उसके साथ ही इस घर पे 2 गोले गिरे हैं। इसकी वजह से दोनों मकानों में आग लगी है, यानी इस बस्ती को निशाना बनाया गया और ये घर जो है आप देख सकते हैं ये भी तबाह हो गया ये मकान। और जो छर्रे हैं गोलों की उसकी वजह से आप देख सकते हैं कितने सुराख यहाँ पे इर्द गिर्द हुए हैं। ये हाल है और इससे आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि कितनी शिद्दत रही होगी इस धमाके की जो यहाँ पे गोले बरसाए गए। और अंदर भी मैं दिखाने की कोशिश करूंगा कि यहाँ पे क्या कुछ हुआ है। पूरी तरह से ये घर बर्बाद हो गया है और उसके अलावा 2 मकान जिन पे ये गोले गिरे हैं वो पूरी तरह से तबाह हो चुके हैं, उनमें आग लगी है और आग अभी भी यहाँ पे जल रही है।
CNN News 18 is reporting from Uri, and this is where a lot of ceasefire violation from Pakistan has taken place. To show you the market today, it's almost deserted, but people have now started to once again come back to life. Markets have also started to open up, but there is palpable tension, fear, and at times when there is intense shelling, the shells could also land here in Uri market. The line of control is very close to my extreme left, behind these mountains that the line of control exists. So there is tension, but people are going about their normal life. Army has said that during the night time there was a ceasefire violation that took place in Baramulla, Kupwara and parts of Jammu as well. And there has been a palpable fear among local population here, but they say that there are certain casualties and injuries that have been inflicted by the Pakistan shelling. But yes, life has to go on, and several people have chosen to vacate their houses who are living near the line of control in Uri, and they have gone to some other places. There were at least 10 injuries which were caused in the Uri subdivision yesterday due to the ceasefire violation. Around 20 plus structures were also damaged, and some vehicles also suffered damage. And during the night time, the small exchange fire and artillery fire was also reported from several sectors.
पाकिस्तान ने जम्मू कश्मीर लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल ते जिहड़ी बंबारमेंट कीती है और जिहड़ी अवज्ञा कीती है उथों दी लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल दे उत्ते वो सिद्धी गुरु घरां दे उत्ते और रिहायशी इलाकिਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੰਬ ਮਾਰੇ ਨੇ और बहुत वड्डी कैजुअलिटी हुई है जिहड़ी साडी सरकार या मीडिया हले नहीं दिखा रहा। शायद हिंदुस्तान ने जो स्ट्राइक की है पाकिस्तान के उत्ते तो उहदा राइट बनता सी तुसी आके जो पहलगाम च कीता सीगा और तुसी आतंकियां दे स्कूल और कॉलेज खोले हुए ने जिथे ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हो उत्थे तुहाडे उत्ते बंबारमेंट तुहाडे उत्ते स्ट्राइक्स होणियां सीगियां क्योंकि कई साल हो गए इसनूं बर्दाश्त करदे।
आज एक बहुत ही दुखद घटना सुनने में आई और नापाक पाकिस्तान ने बौखलाहट में कायरतापूर्ण से जो उसने गुरु घर पे अटैक किया वो बहुत निंदनीय है। उसकी जितनी पुरजोर निंदा की जाए वो थोड़ी है। उसमें हमारे इराकी साहिबान 3 सिख भाई शहीद हुए हैं। अगर भारत ने आज अटैक किया है पाकिस्तान के ऊपर तो उन आतंकवादी अड्डों पे उन कैंपों पे हमला किया है जहां से आतंकवादियों को ट्रेनिंग देके भारत के लिए भेजा जाता था। उन्होंने किसी सिविलियन या पाकिस्तान आर्मी पे भी अटैक नहीं किया। भारत सरकार ने जो आज बहुत ही प्रशंसनीय काम मैं समझता हूं, बधाई के पात्र हैं यहाँ के प्रधानमंत्री और सारी जनता।
पाकिस्तान ने गुरुद्वारा सिंह सभा पुंछ के ऊपर जो मिसाइलों से हमला किया इसकी मैं कड़े शब्दों में निंदा करता हूं। ये उनकी घटिया मानसिकता को बताता है और कितने कायर हैं। और 5 लोग पुंछ में सिख अब तक मारे गए हैं। ये सिविलियंस के ऊपर हमला है, अटैक है उनके ऊपर। और पाकिस्तान इतना कायर है कि हमारे सिविलियंस के ऊपर हमला कर रहा है। मैं पाकिस्तान की ऐसी कमीनी हरकत के लिए उनके ऐसे कमीने लोगों को कहना चाहता हूं, आपने जो हरकत की है मेरी भारत की सरकार तुमसे इसका भी हिसाब लेगी। जो तुमने पवित्र गुरुद्वारा साहब के ऊपर हमला किया है और बेकसूर लोग सिविलियंस के ऊपर हमला करके उनकी जान लेने का काम किया है, इसका भी तुमसे जवाब और हिसाब लिया जाएगा।
आज सुबह 7:45 बजे रात सारी फायरिंग चलती रही। फायरिंग तक कोई पता चलता ही कहाँ पर गोला पड़ता कहाँ पर नहीं पड़ा। और सुबह 7:45 बजे मैं सो गया, यहाँ पर आगे रात को जागता रहा तो बस अचानक ही वो 7:45 बजने के बाद वहाँ पर ब्लास्ट हुआ, उस लेंटर पर पड़ा तो मेरे सारे घर में उसने इन्वॉल्व कर दिया। जो बेटा था मेरा, जो भतीजा था, वो थोड़ा बार बरामदे में बैठा था, उसको एक सिलेंडर लग गया जो लंग्स में। तो चलो वो कोई बात नहीं। तो मैं यही कहता हूँ कम से कम पाकिस्तान को पूरे तरीके से एक जवाब दें कि भाई ये लोकेलिटी में गोला मारना, जहाँ पर बिल्कुल एक स्लम पॉपुलेशन रह रही है। पुंछ में एक छोटा सा पुंछ है, बिल्कुल खिता है, पूरे स्लम पॉपुलेशन है, इसमें हिंदू भी है, सिख भी है। पर मेरे ख्याल ऐसी बातें नहीं होनी चाहिए कि किसी पॉपुलेशन पर ये अपनी बमबारी करें, ऊपर फायरिंग करें, लोगों को मारें। हर किसी से है तो आप बॉर्डर पर कर सकते हैं, पर यहाँ पर पुंछ में बिल्कुल छोटा हिंदू सिख सुबह एक मदरसे में पढ़ा, उसके बाद गुरुद्वारा सिंह सभा में पढ़ा, घर में पढ़ा। तो मेरे ख्याल ये कोई ह्यूमन राइट्स नहीं है, ये राइट्स नहीं है कि ह्यूमन बीइंग सिस्टम नहीं है जो यहाँ पर चलने वाला। तो मैं मीडिया की वसासत से कहता ठीक है, हमें उसको जवाब देना है, इसको दोबारा से पूरा जवाब देना। हमें हमारा बेटा भी चला गया, फिर हम जवाब देना उसी पर। वो समझना चाहिए उनको कि भाई ये स्लम पॉपुलेशन में, जहाँ पर पॉपुलेशन नेथे लोग रह रहे हैं, वहाँ पर बमारमट करना पाकिस्तान का ये काम नहीं है मेरे ख्याल में।
माही सर, हम
brazen lies. Siddhant Mishra is with us. Siddhant Mishra, has Bharat ever claimed officially that 3 planes have been downed?
No, Anand. As we were discussing before also, these motor-mouth ministers have no other work. They don't know what is going to be the next move of Rawalpindi, perhaps what is going on in Asim Munir's mind. All they are left with is to go to media and make irresponsible statements, perhaps so that, tension can escalate between the two countries. All they are left out is with the handouts that they get from Rawalpindi, and they are told to follow that script word by word. And this Khwaja Asifs and Ishaq Dars of the world are doing the same from last 3 weeks, Anand, since the Pahalgam terror attack. And in fact, in the same series, this fresh irresponsible statement from Khwaja Asif has come, where he is claiming that Indian jets have been shot down. And in fact, in the same interview, he was trolled by this TV journalist when she asked that where is the evidence. So he said that it's all over social media. Perhaps a sitting defense minister making such an irresponsible statement, reflects upon the character of the country. But also the fact, Anand, is that, before Pahalgam terror attack, even we were not aware of somebody called Khwaja Asif, who happens to be the defense minister of Pakistan. Because he doesn't call the shots. He doesn't know what's going to be the next move. He has a very little information. All he's left with is handout, and his work is to go to the media and read those handouts.
Right. Ishan Wani is also with us at this point. Ishan, a lot of false claims that are being made. Is there a clear effort to try and sift out the disinformation?
Well, absolutely. There's a lot of disinformation. Not the first and possibly not the last to have disinformation campaign when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir. Anand, prior to this particular incident, the army always used to say that Pakistan has a large, disinformation campaign in regard to Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of India. They have been running. Now, over the years, the army also tried to ensure that they are able to decode and try to hit back to the disinformation campaign that the Pakistan and Pakistan government and the Pakistani establishment had launched in regard to Jammu and Kashmir. Still there is. The PIB is trying to fact check. There are agencies trying to fact check. There are civil society groups who are fact checking them with facts. I am in Uri right now, and there is palpable calm. During the night time, it has witnessed intense shelling. And I'll show you that example of how people and army is closely knitted to each other in Uri. My VJ Bashir Loan will show you. This is a board at Uri where it says Awam Ki Fauj, and this highlights basically the cooperation between both the army.
Viewers, hello and welcome to the live and rolling coverage of India's counter-strike on Pakistan just 2 weeks after the Pahalgam terror attack. Remember, viewers, yesterday was the 14th day. The previous strikes that we had conducted against Pakistan took place within that time window. So it was imminent. The destruction is visible on your screens. That's the before and after picture from Jamia Mosque in Bawalpur. You can see how the Spice missiles, how the Hammer missile systems have penetrated the concrete, flattened out that structure. It doesn't stand anymore, viewers. This Jamia Mosque in Bawalpur is flattened, and it is flattened only because of resolve, of a resolute decision that was taken to ensure that we get justice for Pahalgam. That again is Bawalpur. That really is the edifice, viewers. That is the edifice of the Pakistani deep state that has cultivated, nurtured vipers. Precise, focused and retributive justice for that very, very, very insidious enterprise by Pakistan. It's all been flattened. It's left an indelible scar, not only on the ground, but also on the psyches of the Pakistanis. So much so, viewers, that today most of them are imagining that they're under attack in Lahore. The administration there in Lahore, which is of course across the border, and Lahore is very, very psychologically important in the establishment, Pakistan establishment mind's eye. Why? Because Lahore really is a seat, the citadel of their power base, and it is very, very well known that it is the Pakistani elite that control all of Pakistan. If you're beginning to unnerve them, if you're making them see things that don't exist, if you're playing on their minds in a manner that is making their decision-making ability impaired, they're not being able to see right from wrong, then you've already struck deep in Pakistan. Without the Punjabi elite, Pakistan is nothing. So if you are striking in Muridke, which is just outside of Pakistan, of Lahore, viewers, not even 25 kilometers from Lahore, you are almost at the doorstep of the citadel of Pakistan. And that's really what is making the Pakistan state today extremely worried. Now, this Operation Sindoor sends a clear message to Pakistan after the brutal murder of 26 Indian tourists in Pahalgam who were chosen on religious lines for slaughter. That a nation of over 1 billion has demanded justice, and India has responded with 21 precision missiles at 9 terror locations, reducing lashkar-e-taiba and jaish-e-mohammed camps to rubble. The Hizbul Mujahideen that saw itself as a voice of some oppressed, imagined Kashmiri people has also been hit. Even Jaish Chief Masood Azhar's family members were hit in the strikes. As Pakistan contemplated retaliation, India stands ready, firm in its doctrine of strength, proving once again that those who shed Indian blood will pay the price. On the other hand, Pakistan, rattled with India's counter strike, has resorted to warmongering. Viewers, Defense Minister Khwaja Asif, when confronted by CNN on his fake claims of shooting down 5 Indian jets, didn't quite know how to square the claim with the evidence. He said, no, I read it on social media. Indians are putting it out on social media. Viewers, it's absolutely absurd. It's absurd.
Can you provide more detail? And is this the response that your army spokesman threatened, or is there further action to come? Let's start with this very specific allegation of 5 fighter jets shot down. Where's the evidence for that, sir?
It's all over the social media, on Indian social media, not on our social media. The debris of these jets fell into Indian occupied Kashmir, and it's all over Indian media today.
You're the defense
and they have
minister.
admitted their media has.
The reason to talk to you today, sir, is not to talk about content all over social media. I'm sorry. It's not to talk about content all over social media. I'm asking you very specifically for the evidence, for the detail. For example, was any Chinese equipment used by Pakistan to down these Rafale jets, as I understand you are alleging them to be?
There's no Chinese equipment. We have Chinese planes, JF-17 and JF-10. They are Chinese planes, but they are being manufactured, assembled in Pakistan now. We have very close to Islamabad, we have a facility over there where these planes are manufactured. And if India can buy planes from France and use them, we can also buy planes from China or Russia or United States or UK and use them. And let me say one thing. They have already admitted that the 3 planes were down.
Well, viewers, yesterday the Prime Minister in the Cabinet meeting said very, very clearly to all his co-ministers that we are ready. Let's not take the eye off the ball. And today, top government sources are telling CNN News 18 that the Poonch situation is worrying India. But if Indians are targeted, India won't hesitate to deploy its plan 2, plan 3, go up the escalation ladder. So putting Pakistan on total notice. Let's go straight across to Pallavi for more on this. Pallavi, break this down for us.
So first of all, the big information coming in from the top government sources does endorse the fact that Operation Sindoor was just the picture. It's just the first picture. It's going to be played out at a multiple level, many phases. So there could be more such Operation Sindoor kind of operations which are going to take place coming in from the Indian government. It's also closely monitoring the situation across the border, around the border, Rahul, and also the relentless ceasefire violations which are taking place from Pakistan, what has happened in Poonch as well. And according to top government sources, these are reasons enough why the Indian government reserves the right to retaliate immediately. But one thing which we are very careful about is, unlike Pakistan, we are not going to be targeting the civilians. We know what happened in Poonch, children being attacked. For example, the minorities, the Sikhs, the Gurudwara being attacked. Again, a point which is being raised by top Indian government is that we do not attack minorities. Minorities in our country are safe, but minorities have never ever been safe as far as Pakistan is concerned. Again, these are important points which India is going to raise also at a global level, that this is the reason why Pakistan must be declared as a rogue nation, because they are violating the ceasefire norms, they are violating the cardinal principle is that no civilians or the innocent should be targeted, religious places should not be targeted, and therefore India reserves the right to retaliate ASAP.
Well, very, very interesting, because what you're suggesting is that India is not looking at Operation Sindoor as a one-off. That's really what you're saying, Pallavi, isn't it?
That's right. Absolutely, Rahul. It's not as a one-off operation. It is definitely not going to be a one-off operation. We have given this multiple warnings to Pakistan. In fact, yesterday also, if you listen to words of the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri at that press conference, he said that any misadventure on the part of Pakistan is going to be retaliated very ably and strongly by India. We watched the entire situation on the ground yesterday. We watched it along the border. Not only has there been a ceasefire violation repeatedly by Pakistan, but also the innocents in Poonch have also been targeted, and therefore the possibility of another Operation Sindoor 2.0 cannot be ruled out. When that happens, what scale that's going to happen in, of course the government has the last word on that.
Absolutely. Look, also of course, just talk us through, Pallavi, the panoply of plans that are being put in place to prepare India in the event of some sort of a counter-strike by Pakistan. Just talk us through the steps that have been contemplated here.
Well, Rahul, first of all, yesterday in the morning we saw that after the press meet took place and the statement came in from the government side at the National Media Centre, it was almost business as usual for the government in terms of a CCS in which the Prime Minister acknowledged the work done by the armed forces. You saw those pictures of the cabinet meeting, and then the cabinet meeting also took place in which multiple announcements were made. The messaging going in from the government to the world and to Pakistan as well, that we are just going on our work. We are going to give priority to the people of the country. We're going to carry on with the business, but we're not going to be sitting pretty. But if we're going to ask about the backdrop, well, of course, the Prime Minister is constantly in touch with the NSA, with the armed forces, the Defence Minister, the Home Minister. It's a loop. The Prime Minister, the Home Minister, the Defence Minister, the NSA and the Army Chief, Air Force, Navy Chiefs, all are working in close coordination. The Prime Minister had several rounds of meeting yesterday. Today also we can expect some more meetings. So that is where, as far as the military action and Operation Sindoor 2.0 is being talked about. But another bigger battle which is also now being fought by India is that of the information war, the misinformation battle, which is being peddled by Pakistan. Videos being leaked out suggesting that we are targeting their civilians. Videos being leaked out that we also faced a lot of damage coming in from Pakistan. All of that has been consistently, and through you, Rahul, an appeal to all the viewers is that go in for the official version, which is why the PIB fact check unit is very much activated. India is also coming out with all the details as much as possible within the security paradigms, and also telling the world that this is where the targeting was held. In fact, very quickly before I come back to you, Rahul, yesterday when the press conference was being made, just before that, we saw an entire film tracing from right Parliament attack to the Pahalgam terror attack to show how Pakistan had asked for it. Second, we also showed the targets which were done as a part of Operation Sindoor. Again, that was evidence given by India to the world, what really happened. And since morning, we are again seeing footage to show that which were the targets. It was not civilian targets, it was only the terror targets which were targeted by India.
Thanks indeed, Pallavi. Thanks for that comprehensive update. India is very well prepared, viewers. It was Akraman, now it's on alert. We know what to do, how to do. There have been attempts by Pakistan to try and escalate along the LOC. We've rebuffed those. Indian armed forces fighting back. They've been absolutely on top of the game. Let me tell you, on top of their game. And I want to bring in Lieutenant General Pandey, who has, of course, been with us, who's been looking at this entire situation as it's been evolving, and Tara Karta also. Both of them need no introduction. They've been very, very articulate, and of course, they bring huge amounts of experience. So, General Pandey, let me first begin with you, because this is an important question that everyone is asking. And this question is a very simple one. When will Pakistan strike, if at all? And if they do, where do you think they're going to strike? Because this is not as if there is a ready-made target, some sort of terror infrastructure that is causing them grief. They've already shown us that their cowardly strikes have taken place along the LOC against Indian civilians, which shows them up as being this outlaw kind of rogue state. So if they want to go up the escalation chain, they're going to have to spill innocent Indian blood.
Actually, their options are very limited as of now, especially after the Pahalgam thing and this whole very comprehensive press brief which was given by the defense spokes that the three officers, two lady officers and Mystery when they gave this report. Very, very comprehensive package which was delivered to tell the world that their activities which have involved using terrorism on our land is the reason why we have gone for the strike. So actually right now, militarily, economically, isolation-wise in the world, except for Turkey, Azerbaijan and China, which were very obvious people, nobody else has supported them. So their options are very restricted. But what I want to caution through this medium is that this issue of using our own entire spectrum across the country by carrying out something very, very silly remains with him as a tool which is existing. So it may not be in Jammu and Kashmir per se, but thereafter the rest of the country is game for this country because they have got the expertise in using terror tactics to divide, push people to wall. Their main aim is actually to draw us into a war or a conflict. That is their requirement of survival. And the short term, they are looking in the immediate time in case there's a major kinetic application which takes place. Asim Mani knows that the country will get straight away consolidated and he'll have major power and people are going to be getting along. Right now, He's leading a very fractured environment. So that is one part. The second part is they are very expert in using military force against civilians. And I just again want to send a message through your channel to all the so-called Khalistani lovers that in this case, when you're firing even an indirect weapon, an artillery shell, you exactly know where the gurdwaras are or where your minority Sikh communities are or where your Muslims are. So, they have got no love lost for religion. It may be any type of religion. This deliberate targeting a country which is willing to target their own people who are Muslims. They may be Shias or Sunnis or they may be tribal or Pashtuns or Baloch. How are they trusting this element to, just let them go? So the message in last 24 hours should be for the Kashmiri people that they were very, very unhappy with the economic prosperity development and the peace dividends which was coming to them. And therefore, this hit on Pahalgam has actually tried to hit onto the peace and stability of Kashmir, which was actually resonating. In fact, the common people were coming out so openly and enjoying everything. There was a strand and element which was unhappy with the economic prosperity and the tinge and the leaning towards Bharat by the Kashmiri people.
Yes.
So, except for those segments, rest of the population, I can assure you, I'm still in touch with a very, very large section of Kashmiri population. They were absolutely happy, and this hit is primarily to tell them that Pakistan is not happy with your happiness or with your peace. So they need to now understand all these things in the long term. So when you ask this question, these levers today are actually restricted to respond, and they are looking at just a balance for India to carry out a major army action targeting a military installation which will allow him to bind the entire country. The very selection of targets onto the terrorist infrastructure has denied them that just a balance or something to carry out a military operation per se. I will add one more thing. In this entire conversation, we have been focusing on Pakistan. Somewhere we are not focused on China enough. And I guess that while our diplomatic community should go tongs and hammers to put Pakistan to be nominated as a terrorist state, we also need to account the Chinese to be actually the people who are enabler in terms of equipment. You just heard the defense minister about using the Chinese equipment and support and everything. The Chinese have not yet come out very, very clearly to actually state about Pahalgam incident as a massacre, as a brutality, as something very, very insanity driven. So somewhere I think we need to leave and leverage this part of diplomacy as well to put them on a spot that they need to come out in the open and state very clearly what has happened as a carnage in Pahalgam is something not acceptable to a decent society, or at least a country which wants to compete with superpowers or come onto the multipolar table at the high table of the world. So I just thought, but right now their options are restricted. The maximum possibly in about a week's time, they may respond by launching missiles or a certain degree of similar mirroring operations at our military installations, which may be isolated, it may be sites, or else the locations which have participated in these actions is not very difficult to identify which are the installations which were launched or used for this operation, and carry out as a quid pro quo operation and state to the world that, look, we have hit those people who crossed the border and we are not trying to escalate. So he doesn't want to escalate, I think. He wants us to escalate. And these are the baiting operations that are on.
Well, this is a very interesting take. And I think you made a very, very important point there. Very, very important point. And I want to bring in Tara Karta on this. Tara Karta, there's been a lot of talk in India about the manner in which we have planned and executed this. Now, the essential aim really was to galvanize opinion, global opinion in our favor, number one. Number two was to establish deterrence. Have we done both?
In terms of deterrence, I I mean, we've seen Pakistan is not so easily deterred from terrorist strikes. I mean, we've tried to do this several times through dialogue, through through attacks. You had the Balakot, and still they do this. So it's it's a systemic issue. The army wants tension with you. The army gets into this cycle of, where the army chief starts getting vulnerable because of his own mistakes. I mean, this man has arrested more generals than any army. I have never seen this happening before. He's arrested a prime minister, 3 lieutenant generals, 1 major general, and I think a couple of brigadiers as well. So he's very shaky, right? So this person, this is a cycle. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's very difficult to put in deterrence into a system which is built for terrorism. That's what I'm getting at. Now, if this is the dangerous part, as long as this man sees his survival is at stake, he's not going to back off. That is my problem. Hopefully, the corps commanders will exercise some sense and tell him to back off. We don't know. That's a hope that one sees. And number 2, I want to bring out something. In various track 2 dialogues, Pakistan has always been this, like children say, no, mere se baat nahi kar rahe. That kind of an attitude. It has been consistent. And, let's say about the last 5 years, did you see anybody even writing on Pakistan? We never bothered about them. We said that, now he's back on your show, to put it that way. Yeah. Hasim Munir is back in the headlines. He's got so far, hopefully with these 5, 6, whatever he claims, some aircraft has shot down, this, that, and the other. If the ego is satisfied, I just saw this mirror statement from the Pakistan press saying that the army is given full leave to do whatever it wants, as if it needs to ask the civilians. I mean, it's going to do what it wants anyway. But that kind of it's very dangerous when it becomes personal. That is what I'm worried about.
And you believe it's become personal with Munir, and therefore he's going to lose sight of the larger picture and perhaps even make mistakes.
Yes, absolutely. Because for him, if he loses this round, he is going to be joined Faiz Hamid in jail. That's the end of this guy. So that is why I'm saying it is dangerous. Left to the civilians, I mean, Khwaja, what you just showed, the defense minister, I'm sorry, he is hilarious in some of the things he says. But at least the civilian side is asking for, trying to step back. The military is not so far as we know. Okay. We don't know what the others are.
Ma'am, just hold your thoughts, because, General Saab was saying that there's a disinformation campaign and we need to constantly educate the public against this disinformation campaign. So there's breaking news coming in. Yet another attempt by Pakistan to spread disinformation has been called out. The PIB has launched a massive fact-check exercise. They've set up a cell to actually defeat Pakistan's designs. And they have said that the video that Pakistan is sharing from a wildfire from 2024 to suggest that there is some targeting that is happening in India, etc., except it is all wrong, that no military base in Amritsar has been struck. This was a video of a wildfire. It has been clarified that the video being shared is from a wildfire from 2024. So Payal Mehta is with us on this. Payal, of course, we have been seeing this PIB fact check. Here it is, viewers. It's been put out. Pakistan propaganda alert is what it says. If you just look at it closely, it's in my hand. If you can just split the screens, you'll be able to see this very clearly. It says Pakistan-based handles are spreading old videos falsely alleging strikes on a military base in Amritsar. This is a PIB fact check. The video being shared is from a wildfire from 2024, and this is the image that has been declared fake, viewers. So it's very clear that Pakistan is desperate. Pakistan is desperate. Clearly, the military there has taken it very, very personally, and they're going to try everything to suggest that they're on top of the game. They're doing everything in their interest to hurt India, but right now they're only striking through fake news. Payal Mehta joins us. Payal Mehta, a little bit more on this story, and of course the efforts that have been made by the PIB to set up a cell to negate this disinformation.
Well, PIB, Rahul, has been active ever since, this whole detail has broken out, because there are multiple levels at which Pakistan is trying to peddle fake news, trying to create a communal disharmony in the first place in the country like India.
which is diverse in its nature. And of course, a lot of credit must go to the government of India, to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting for being able to do this effectively, because, what floats on social media circulates to multiple, levels, whether it's journalists like us or, the common man who does not really know how to differentiate between the good and the bad and the right and the wrong as well. So obviously, that is something which is being there. But, are you really surprised with what Pakistan is doing? This is part of the dirty design, and this is exactly what they've been championing in as well. So, hopefully, more and more people will read into the facts and not go by the fake news.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is very, very critical, viewers. This is a national effort. We all have to come together. We have to be in complete harmony with each other. We can't have people trying to divide us by peddling fake news. Payal Mehta, this has been an enterprise that will take a lot of doing. It will also mean that journalists like us will have to be doubly responsible, and we will have to be very, very cautious about what we are putting out also. So it applies all over. Citizens out there should not be sharing Pakistani propaganda. Verify whatever content you're getting on WhatsApp, social media handles, etc., claiming some sort of Pakistan offensive against India might be fake. Go with the idea that it is fake. General, you were talking about this. This is part of the disinformation war, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been handling ADG. I was ADG Stratcom and been in Kashmir a couple of times, many times, in fact, 7-10 years. I have understood this game of disinformation, which a very great structure, which actually they have tried to virtually copy what the Americans do for last about so many decades. They've got a very detailed structure led by the DGISPR. And before even an event goes on and they anticipate, they got teams starting from bots, AI stuff, everything is all recorded. It just requires a certain degree of calibration, and thereafter is let out loose. And then they got people on our side, which very quickly try to proliferate with who have got millions of viewers. And we'll come on to this part. But, for last few days, my DMs are totally flooded by people who know me too, and especially, young guys, that whom should we trust, right? So I just want to say a couple of messages from your channel is that, first is that people of Pakistan have started distrusting DGISPR now, as social media has become so omnipresent, because they are getting information from all across the world, and they have started distrusting. When they have started distrusting their own government agency, which had all pervasive reach, right? Even the people who are in madrasas have started now questioning that, jo army kya hai, dahshatgardi ke piche vardi hai, stuff like that. So one is that we have to start looking this fact that everything which comes on the social media is not correct, especially in the time of AI and the proliferation system. The second is that please understand that all operation information, what is happening, good or bad, will not be shared till the time it is executed or fulfilled its value on a social media platform or any other platform. So you are going to buy something in the market. If you divulge your rate for what you are asking, the other side is going to hijack up and down. Similarly, as a common man, I need to understand that the military or the defenses or the government of India is not going to lay out its card up front and say, okay, tonight we are going for launch an operation, or we have achieved these successes, or whatever has happened, or this thing. So,
General, just hold your thoughts, because there are obviously a lot of social media videos that are going viral. Some of them are also coming out of Pakistan. This is not a video about any military claim or anything like that, viewers. This is about a common citizen there, very, very upset with their own government for talking them into a war, doing things that has led them into a war, and then relying on Chinese equipment that is clearly subpar, which has not been able to even detect the strikes and the missiles that were coming in or thwart them, etc., from across the border, that is from India. So listen to this, viewers. It's a very interesting video that has been put out by some person in Pakistan, which is quite viral. Listen in.
मैंने पाकिस्तान के ऊपर 24 मिसाइल हमले किए और हैरानगी की बात यह है कि तकरीबन सारे मिसाइल अपने टारगेट के ऊपर जाके लगे। इंडिया ने जो टारगेट सेट किया हुआ था, इंडिया ने वो टारगेट अचीव किया। और इससे बढ़ के हैरानगी की बात यह है कि पाकिस्तान का दिफाई निजाम, हमारा डिफेंस सिस्टम एक भी मिसाइल को इंटरसेप्ट नहीं कर सकता, एक भी मिसाइल को हम रोक नहीं सकते। सारे हमले हम रोकने में नाकाम रहे। एग्जैक्ट जो इंडिया ने टारगेट अचीव करना था वो अचीव किया है। वो जो कहते हैं ना कि इंडिया ने घुस के मारना था, इंडिया ने वाकई घुस के मारा और हम उसके मिसाइलों को रोक नहीं सके। ये हकीकत है। अब इसको आप ये मत कहें कि जी आप इंडिया की तारीफ कर रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, वो कर रहे हैं। भाई जो हकीकत है वो हकीकत है। आप सुनते आ रहे हैं कि ईरान 200 मिसाइल फायर करता है, 400 मिसाइल फायर करता है, 1000 मिसाइल फायर करता है और इसराइल के अंदर जाके एक आधी गिरता है, बाकी सारे के सारे इसराइल इंटरसेप्ट कर लेता है। ऐसा मजबूत दिफाई निजाम है इसराइल का। लेकिन हमारे पास देख लो 24 मिसाइल छोड़े हैं इंडिया ने और एक भी नहीं हम रोक सके। और हैरानगी की बात यह कि अभी इंडिया ने किसी फौजी तनसीबात को निशाना नहीं बनाया। अभी इंडिया ने हमारे किसी छोमनी के ऊपर, कैंट के ऊपर या किसी ऐसी हसास जगह के ऊपर अटैक नहीं किया। यही 24 के 24 मिसाइल अगर हमारे किसी हसास जगह के ऊपर टारगेट किए जाते तो अब तक तो प्रोग्राम बढ़ चुका होना था। यही अगर GHQ के ऊपर फेंका गया होता तो प्रोग्राम बढ़ चुका होता। या यही किसी और हसास जगह के ऊपर मिसाइल गिराए जाते तो किसने रोकने थे? हम तो रोक ही नहीं सके भाई, एक भी मिसाइल नहीं हम रोक सके। दूसरी अफवाहें ये फैलाई जा रही थी, सारी रात को पाकिस्तानी मीडिया लगा हुआ था, सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर तमाम झूठ पॉलिसियां लगे हुए थे। वो पाकिस्तान ने इंडिया के जहाज गिरा दिए हैं। वो सारी पिक्चर्स मैंने देखी, कोई 8 महीने पुरानी है, कोई 3 साल पुरानी है। हमने इंडिया का वो जनरल हेडक्वार्टर गिरा दिया, पता नहीं क्या गिरा दिया। वो मैंने सर्च किया, वो भी फेक न्यूज फैलाई हुई, कोई ऐसी।
Well, clearly we're getting under their skin. We're also now deeply denting their psyche. General Pandey, are you surprised by this reaction? Because as I was asking even yesterday, and I'm absolutely glad that that has happened, that the Pakistanis didn't see it coming at all. Now, what is this a reflection of?
So, Tara Katha had called me for one of the sessions, and a couple of points which I highlighted was that, and today, as a country, as a whole of nation approach, we need to segment the Pakistani society in couple of layers, right? Today, a common Pakistani, even an elite Pakistani, I'm sure you must have seen that video of a very young girl in a Pakistani street, pretty young, educated girl, telling कि हमारी आर्मी तो इंडियन की आर्मी उनको ऐसे ही हरा देगी हमारी आर्मी को. She is very casually talking about that is the trust of their people. The second is that number of reels which are on, the protest, people moving into the Pak 4 house and, dismantling and taking things away from their home. These are signs of a frustration by the common population and people against Pak army, which again I will like to distinguish in couple of layers. One is entire Pak army itself is quite fed up with this leadership, which is Islamized leadership. The lower rung of people who are the foot soldiers, while they have that ideology or a religion to follow, but yet they have to look at facet of survival. But the colonels, brigadiers and above, who have actually been through the motivational courses and the transition which Ziaul Haq had done, they are at the top level, right? And very few of them who have got education in the Western environment, like this gentleman, Asim Mir, has not had a course abroad except for in Saudi Arabia, and I think he was there in Japan for some time. So when you don't have any Western influences, your focus is totally radicalized and is very egoistic and self-believe that we are the flag bearer of the religion. So they are also getting quite isolated. As you said, Imran Khan had a huge following. That following hates Asim Munir and people of Asim Munir, and similarly there is a huge segment of senior leadership who have been sidelined and thrown out, and they have been court-martialed, put behind bars, as Tara has just said.
Yeah.
So, they are also unhappy. So we need to actually focus on Asim Munir and his ilk.
Look, I'm going to take a short break, General Saab, but when I come back, I'm also going to ask you the question that I originally posed, that is the Pakistani defense system, and I also want to bring in Tara Karta on that, is it so absolutely porous, as some of these people are claiming in Pakistan, that they're not going to be able to stand up to Indian strikes? So that's the question that I want your assessment on. I'll take a short break. We're right back.
Brought to you by
brazen lies. Siddhant Mishra is with us. Siddhant Mishra, has Bharat ever claimed officially that 3 planes have been downed?
No, Anand. As we were discussing before also, these motor-mouth ministers have no other work. They don't know what is going to be the next move of Rawalpindi, perhaps what is going on in Asim Munir's mind. All they are left with is to go to media and make irresponsible statements, perhaps so that, tension can escalate between the two countries. All they are left out is with the handouts that they get from Rawalpindi, and they are told to follow that script word by word. And this Khwaja Asifs and Ishaq Dars of the world are doing the same from last 3 weeks, Anand, since the Pahalgam terror attack. And in fact, in the same series, this fresh irresponsible statement from Khwaja Asif has come, where he is claiming that Indian jets have been shot down. And in fact, in the same interview,